Cynthia Valcamp, Starbucks head of marketing, made this brief statement at a press conference earlier today.
We have enjoyed furnishing you with coffee-related beverages and are excited about the important role you play in our future plans.
Existing Starbucks franchises across the nation have been shuttered with high-strength titanium, and the well-known Starbucks logo has been slightly altered to present the familiar mermaid figure as a cyclopean mermaid whose all-seeing eye forms the apex of a world-spanning pyramid. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're doing something a little bit different tonight. Just want to come right out and reveal that we are recording the first hour of the show. Now, the reason why, and by the way, it's Ian and Johnny Ray in the studio. Hey, Johnny.
Hello, Ian.
The reason why, I don't really think I can say. It involves one of our co-hosts, occasional co-hosts. I shouldn't even say who. He needs some help with an activist project.
There's a contest that's happening.
Yeah, and we really shouldn't get into detail because he has specifically asked, well, there I said he, but so, okay, now you know it's not one of the female co-hosts, but he specifically asked that this not be publicized, really. So it's a very important project. If you were living in Keene, New Hampshire, in this area, and you were a liberty activist, hopefully you would know about this because you'd be involved in helping him, because it's a big idea that, let's just say, could really help with Bitcoin in the future, like moving ahead, at least locally, helping Bitcoin acceptance. And I think it's a very important project. So that's why we're actually not here in the studio when this particular hour of the show is live, because we're going to be out with that person, helping them with that activism. And it's a bunch of the Free Talk Live co-hosts from this area are helping out with this. So there's really like nobody who can do the show live. Normally we're pretty good about having live shows every single night. So we are going to be back at some point here tonight. And so we're pre-recording the first hour of the show just to make sure we have enough time to get back, that we don't have to leave this event that we're all at, that we don't have to leave early, because we don't know when it's going to be over. And so anyway, just wanted to preface what's going on here. So if you hear me give out the phone numbers, it's on complete accident. It's out of total habit. We'll be opening the phones up coming up later on in the show tonight. So we'll let you know when that's available. So, of course, we've got stuff to talk about that we think you'll find interesting. And, of course, if you want to comment, just hold off and then call in a little bit later on when we start doing the live version of the show tonight. And what we're going to start with is a story I've had in show prep for a little bit, a few days now. It came out of the WKYT.com, Bath County, Kentucky, back in late January. Since October of 2015, Amish farmer Samuel Girard has been facing a 12-count federal indictment. The charges against him include conspiracy, distributing misbranded drugs, and threatening a witness. Girard's troubles, you don't hear about this with Amish folks very often. So what's going on? Well, his troubles started back in 2013 when someone reported his products to the state health department in Missouri. Federal judge in Missouri put an injunction in place banning Girard from making some of his products until he met certain conditions. And part of those conditions were inspections of the property where Girard made his products, which is where Kentucky comes into play. Girard makes his products on his family farm, as you might imagine, in Bath County. The farm is home to Girard and his wife, along with their 12 children and 25 grandchildren. Due to their Amish religious beliefs, no one in the
wonderful, interesting people with all kinds of stories to tell about their experience and their path on how they got to New Hampshire, if they already live here, or maybe they're considering moving to New Hampshire. A lot of the people here are coming from outside and want to check out New Hampshire and
right,
see what it's like. And you guys came up here because of Ancap Barbershop, I presume, which was a show
yes,
that kind of came out of the lava flow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So basically, the lava flow turned me into an anarchist.
Which is a podcast for
Yeah.
our listeners, by the way, maybe just tuning in. We've been broadcasting from the Lava Flow studios here for the last couple of days.
Right.
So it turned you into, do you say an anarchist?
Absolutely. Yes.
How did
Yeah.
that happen?
Actually, listening to his Anarchy versus Minarchy episode just kind of pushed me over the edge. You know what I mean? And since then, I had started emailing, talking back and forth with Roger about my idea for just kind of a loose conversational podcast. You know, and that's what we do. We talk about, you know, whatever.
That's what I figured you did.
Exactly. And what it's kind of evolved into is usually we pick two topics and we just hit whatever points we want, toss it back and forth.
What's the typical length of the Ancap Barbershop?
An hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So that's a little long for a podcast, right?
Yeah. I think most podcasts are between 30 minutes and an hour.
Yeah.
A lot of ours end up being an hour 15. Every once in a while you go a little bit long.
Y'all are doing like twice. You said once every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Both here?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Every fortnight. We like that model. That's
Yeah.
easy on us.
And you've been at it for not quite a year?
Right around a year,
Yeah.
something like that. Don't make me do the math right now.
Yeah, it is pretty early. What is it? 7:52 right now. When
Yeah.
Exactly.
we're recording this. Here as the sun is rising. It's looking like it's going to be a beautiful day. Once again at Rogers Campground. I'm here with Scott and Adam from AncapBarbershop.com. So you told me off the air that you actually are a barber part-time, or what's that all about?
Yeah. Well, whenever I'm not doing my day job.
It's an odd side job.
Yeah, exactly. It's and that's a skill that I've been learning for a couple of years.
And your day job is dancer, exotic dancer.
Yes.
How'd you know?
Yeah, actually, that's been a thing that's gone back a couple of generations. Back to my grandfather, and it's just been a family tradition. So yeah, and
Can only imagine what Thanksgiving's like.
it's great. Everybody has like the things that what that cover up the nipples. What is that?
Pasties.
Oh, pasties. That's what I'm
Pasties.
looking for.
Cool.
That's a common thing.
So, AncapBarbershop.com. Scott and Adam here, not so live from Wednesday, which will be the first day of the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Now, y'all had obviously heard about this event. When did you find out about it?
About
Porkfest, yeah.
Oh, I mean, we've known about it for a couple of years. Honestly, I mean, I probably first heard about it from Roger from the Lava Flow, but I mean, since about a year ago now, I've been planning to come this year.
Have you
something
been
like
to
that.
other freedom festivals?
No, this is my
Nope.
first anything like this. Yeah.
Have you been to, weekend concerts, camp out overnight kind of rock concerts or anything similar to that?
I see. I'm trying to think if I've done anything camp out overnight like
I haven't
that.
camped since I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, like
so-
I've slept out in the woods, but not like
I haven't done that.
at
no.
a campsite.
Okay, all right. Because I'm from, like I said, down the south as
Right.
well, and there was this rock station that used to throw an event called Livestock in Tampa.
Oh yeah, I know what that is.
You know
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never
Do
went to
they
that, but
still
I've-
throw it?
I don't know.
think
I'm
they
not.
do.
I remember
sure.
seeing
I'm
it years
actually
ago.
Not familiar with it.
Yeah, there was somebody I wanted to see there years ago and thought about going when I was in high school.
Who was it?
I think it was the Black Keys.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Absolutely.
remember
Yeah.
for how many years it went, but it was epic. I mean, it was
Yeah.
thousands of people, the hard rockers from the South.
Right.
They're coming out and they're lining up. The best part about it was actually the line getting into this place.
Yeah.
I bet that was great.
Because it was literally
Full of characters.
Full of characters.
Yeah.
A 2-hour long tailgate party.
Right.
Where it's just standstill traffic. You can't go anywhere. So it's hot as hell. It's the middle of summer in the South. And everybody's out of their cars, shirts off, beers are cracking them open.
Right.
People are blazing up on the side of the road
Yeah.
and, no problems with police, just people getting high and having a good time, meeting each
Yeah.
other
That's
and
great.
hanging out on the side of the road. And then eventually you get in and there's a pretty cool concert that goes for,
Yeah.
multiple days.
Yeah.
At that point, that was just the cherry on top, right?
Yeah.
You're already having a good time.
It really was, but it kind of forced you to meet the people
Yeah.
that were there. And one of the nice things about the Porcupine Freedom Festival and these New Hampshire Freedom Festivals that happen here is it's easy to meet people.
Right.
It's easy to talk to folks because you're already kind of on the same page with most of them, right? Because you pretty much have the same concepts about freedom in your head, so you can talk about other things from kind of a different perspective.
Yeah,
pretty nice.
And you have that connection that you don't, at least for most people, probably have with the majority of the people in your life.
Right.
So at least us from North Alabama, that's something that we're not used to. So we're looking forward to making all those connections.
Yeah.
Can you stick with me for another segment?
Absolutely. Yes,
More
sir.
with Scott and Adam from AncapBarbershop.com. This is Free Talk Live. We're at Rogers Campground.
Warning, if you've recently declared bankruptcy, you're going to want to cover your ears, because there's an alternative to bankruptcy, and it could be better than you'd ever think possible. But if you've already declared bankruptcy and have missed this opportunity, you'll want to cover your ears now. Here it is. Right now, the company that has resolved more credit card debt than anyone in the U.S. may be able to settle your debt too. You could resolve your debt with one low monthly program payment. If you call right now and qualify, Freedom Debt Relief will show you how low your monthly program payment could be for free. Call now, 1-800-660-1581. That's 1-800-660-1581. If you're struggling with debt, this could be your answer. And the bigger your debt, the more money you could save. To find out for free how much of your hard-earned money Freedom Debt Relief could help you save, call now. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live at Rogers Campground for a morning episode of Free Talk Live, as we are once again in the Lava Flow studios You can go to thelavaflow.com. Check out Roger Paxton's great podcast there. Had a lot of fun doing interviews with him this weekend. He was my main co-host for the last couple of days. And I have a couple of gentlemen here who are part of Roger's network, Pax Libertas Productions, Ancap Barbershop. It's a once every 2 week show, podcast that you guys are having to kind of hold back from what I understand because we're on the radio, so there's certain things that you can't say.
I didn't know where you were about to go with that.
And well, where did you think I was going to go?
I had no idea, honestly, but not anywhere specific.
Yeah.
Once again, I am having to hold back. So
Scott and Adam are here with me, and this program, of course, brought to you by Bitcoin.com, where if you want to get the latest on what's going on with Bitcoin news, you can go to news.bitcoin.com and learn about that. It's an important thing if you don't know about this excellent decentralized currency. You get the basics over at Bitcoin.com, and if you're old school, you've been at it for a long time, then you get the information that you're looking for as well as far as the latest news. So once again, that's Bitcoin.com. Are you guys into cryptocurrencies over there at Ancap Barbershop?
Yeah, we like to talk about them a little bit. I'm not a real tech-oriented person.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of understand the idea of the blockchain.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But
do you have a Bitcoin wallet?
Yeah, I use Bread Wallet.
Okay.
I actually don't have any other. I've been trying to think of what other. I'm thinking maybe a crypto note based altcoin that I want to get into, but I don't know what. I know Dash and Ethereum are huge.
Those two seem like they might be going to be big this week.
Yeah,
that's
really?
something I'm interested in seeing. I'm just predicting that based on what I've heard people talk about. They have these market days up here in New Hampshire. So every weekend in Manchester. I'm not sure how often on the seacoast.
Right.
But Liberty people kind of get together in a large-ish location, and they sell their wares, whatever the product or service is that they create, and they can sell it like a table or something like that.
Cool.
They do that. And people have been saying that because of the Bitcoin fees, that Dash and Ether transactions are very, very common now, and it didn't used to be that way.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if that's one of the things that we're going to see at the Porcupine Freedom Festival, because this has always been like a bastion for cryptocurrency use.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like you can go to Little Zoe's Pizza down there, you can order your lunch and pay for it with Bitcoin.
Right, okay.
But why would you want to pay for it with Bitcoin if it costs $2 to send a Bitcoin transaction?
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out this week.
And I didn't realize it was that high, and I'm glad that I brought
the fee. You mean the fee to send a Bitcoin?
Yeah,
it's been going crazy.
It's been just a little bit since I bought anything.
I was just listening on the web here. Isn't it unregulated too in New Hampshire? That's pretty new.
There was some news where New Hampshire did something that I think was pretty unprecedented. They passed a law that actually exempts cryptocurrency-only businesses from money transmitter regulations.
Okay.
So a lot of states have money transmitter laws. So if you think about like Western Union or MoneyGram, these are traditional money transmitter companies where you hire them to send somebody money generally.
Right.
So if you were to be doing that with cryptocurrency only in New Hampshire, you are protected from being regulated. And I don't think that exists anywhere else.
I think it's the only state. That's what they were saying.
I have definitely not heard. I've heard of that, but I haven't heard of that before in another state. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. I just didn't hear about it.
So there's some cool, exciting stuff happening up here. Was there anything, in New Hampshire that you saw that you just thought, wow, it's as far as news items or whatever, that's kind of unique or something that kind of jumped out at you? We were talking about some of the wins that that New Hampshire had recently. We've had decriminalization,
constitutional carry. I think that's great. In Alabama we're an open carry state, and we don't have constitutional carry. And I don't know, it's just kind of strange because you can open carry a gun, but then once you get into a car,
then it's a whole other set of rules.
Then you're breaking the law,
right?
Unless
so
you have
don't get in a car around a cop if he sees you with a gun.
And also don't get pulled
So
up.
what do you do if you're just open carrying it and the cop's watching you, walk up to your car, you just throw it on the ground, get in your car, and drive off?
It's an awkward situation. What do you do?
Do you pull out your pistol and unload in front of the police officer?
Right. People have been arrested for doing those things, and I think those were some of the reasons why that finally got repealed here in New Hampshire. So it's nice to see, progress in that area.
That and now y'all are moving towards decriminalization
That's
cannabis, right?
That's happening.
Where exactly are y'all at with that?
So the decrim passed the state house by about 90%.
Wow,
which was a new record high. It had been getting like more and more people voting for it over the years. It had been voted for in the state house multiple times.
Right.
It had been shut down in the state senate every single time until this time.
Okay.
Some of the worst prohibitionists were out with the last election. They just decided they'd had enough. They didn't want to even try running for re-election. So they were replaced by less offensive people in that particular department, and the Senate voted pretty overwhelming. I think it was like 74% voted to decriminalize. The governor has a new governor, Republican governor, has said he will sign it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Wow.
So it's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, I can imagine you're fighting an uphill battle with the Free State Project and all that happening here if you're trying to, keep prohibition.
That's what I think that a lot of us want it to, feel like for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is like if you're on the run here in New Hampshire, if you're a statist, if you love the government, you're going to have a real hard time like making your government bigger here because there's all these libertarians
Just flooding in.
Migration that are coming here from all around the world. And you just can't deny the fact that migrations have made a difference. Look at Utah, right, with the Mormons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who came there, the hippies moving to Vermont.
Right.
There's like no doubt that these migrations have had a huge impact on those areas. And already, we can point to so many different success stories here in New Hampshire.
Absolutely.
With only, like a fraction of the Free State Project's total 20,000 and all the other people who, don't join things, who are, moving
still
here. And getting getting active, getting out there and really just kind of creating a more free future.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure there was a decent population of libertarians and liberty-minded people already in New Hampshire anyways, or, probably the same amount as everywhere, So, I imagine you don't count them. Yeah.
There's more.
Yeah, before the Free State Project started, you know what I mean? There was already existing
people have been coming here for decades too.
Yeah.
So like you got the native Granite Staters who are just kind of hardcore freedom people. But there's also those people who, before the Free State Project for decades had seen live free or die. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And they came up here because they knew it was a special place.
Yeah.
So all of that, combined together.
Right.
I can totally see like New Hampshire if the union allows it, being a state to secede.
Yeah. You guys in favor of secession?
I think I am. I hear like Shane Radliff has had some stuff to say about like anarchists being in favor of secession, but I can't have a problem with it.
I love the idea personally.
I do too. I really do.
I think it needs to happen. The sooner it happens, the better off we're all going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
The quicker you get an opportunity to have another little experiment where you can experiment a different political ideology, that's, it's better for everyone because the more you're experimenting, the more you're figuring out what works and what doesn't work.
And that's what this is. I mean, it's a grand experiment in migration of libertarian people to one geographic area. It was an honor to, encounter you guys this bright and early, and I appreciate you coming on Free Talk Live with me for the first half hour of tonight's show.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It was great.
Hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks, guys. That's Scott and Adam from AncapBarbershop.com.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Oh, hey, it's Free Talk Live back in our Keene, New Hampshire studio from an excellent Somaliafest and Shirefest and all the other fests that sprung from that over the weekend. Ian and Mark back here in Keene. And, of course, you can finally join us again on what is intended to be an open phones talk radio show, but we have had closed phones for the last 5 days and half hour because of continuous interviews and recorded segments. We had to, if you're just tuning in or tuning back in, we had to record the last several shows due to being on a campground and not having the ability to do a live show, or at least not having the easy ability to do a live show. You
need a pretty big internet pipe to do what we do.
No, you really don't. You only need about
cameras.
Well, we didn't do that on. We didn't do cameras because we didn't have that much bandwidth. But yes, okay. So to do what we do normally, you need a good internet pipe because cameras do have a lot. But to just broadcast from a campground, all you need is 64 kilobits a second. That's not, or even 30 kilobits. It's not a whole lot.
But you get some dropout with a live broadcast, and that's not worth it.
You can, and it was
It was a struggle for a long time. I mean, we've been doing these remote broadcasts from Rogers Campground up in the beautiful White Mountains of Lancaster, New Hampshire for 8 years. Was it 2009 when the Free State Project first brought back the Porcupine Freedom Festival to Rogers? Because I remember somebody told me it was 2 years where it was at the state-run campground.
Yeah, it was there 2 years.
Called Gunstock.
07.
And we moved here in 06, but we didn't get to go to Porkfest that year because we moved after it. So the first one we went to was 07, and that was at Gunstock. And then I think there was another one after that we went to Gunstock.
Right. 07 and 08 was at Gunstock. 09 was at Rogers Campground, and it's been there since.
Right, and so a great campground, just absolutely a beautiful place. But as should be the rule when you're on a campground, you really should be getting away from technology, right? Like you're supposed to get closer to the earth, to the people, to your neighbors.
I'm not sure the commercial campgrounds are really about that.
Well, okay.
Perhaps the government state-run campsites are that way. They're sort of less convivial, that kind of thing. But the private campgrounds tend to be of the sort where you go to hang out with other people who are doing the sort of the same thing, and get away from it, get away from your normal stay, and have a nice time at the campground.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and that's why a lot of campgrounds do try to provide amenities like Wi-Fi, internet access, and things like that as best as they can. But I've always been of the mindset that, if you're camping, that the whole idea is to get away from the normal flow of life, the normal way things go. That's at least been my philosophy or understanding about it, and that's hard for me to do because I can't get away for half an hour from these blinking boxes that chain me to this studio.
You have chained yourself to the
where if something goes
blinking
wrong,
boxes.
Well, somebody's got to fix the boxes, Mark.
They do.
And if I walk away, then it's not you. Sure as hell aren't going to do it.
Nope.
So
most of the blinking box issues have to do with LRN.FM, which is an incredible online Liberty network that people can go and listen to Liberty programming 24 hours a day.
No, there were some mistakes made on our network's side this time around that made for frustrating things. So I'll give you an example. Last night, again, mistakes get made, board ups, forget things, or whatever. I appreciate all of Genesis Communication Network's hard work, but sometimes somebody drops the ball. And last night, somebody forgot to connect to the studio. Last night during the show. So we recorded all the segments as we should have. They put the segments back into play, and our radio listeners didn't know this because the radio listeners don't rely on this studio to hear the content when we're on remote, but our stream listeners do. So they got a whole half hour's worth of dead air before I was able to find out.
Dead air with commercials.
Correct.
It's the most insulting kind of dead air. Listen to our dead air, then we're going to run some ads.
So that's frustrating when that happens, and because I'm on a campground, my phone's over somewhere charging. I didn't have the ability to get the message. I had to find out by two-way radio that our systems were down. I'm on a third of a hit of LSD, and all of these things coming together. It makes for a very interesting tech support journey. So was able to get that solved, but nonetheless, there's always something. It's like communications, they don't work real well at a campground. So to bring that back around, that's why we ended up having these recorded shows. Plus, we weren't able to negotiate the usual recording space with Rogers Campground that we had, and I'm glad that happened because it kind of forced us to try something new. We're radio guys. We're lazy. We're gonna do we're gonna do kind of like the default way we always do things as long as it's working. Well,
I think that people generally do, professionals generally do things the way they do things until circumstances require them to do something
otherwise.
Different. I think that there are...
But radio people are notoriously lazy.
There's been some great, moments on Free Talk Live while we're at the Porcupine Freedom Festival where people have called in, but...
Not that many.
Some. That's what I said, some.
Yeah, nothing memorable, but...
I can tell you there was a caller one time while I was running the show in there that said that all you Freedom Porcupine people, I wish you'd leave New Hampshire, and that was a pretty good conversation in my opinion. So that's memorable to me. I presume if that I can remember that one, then I can remember others.
Sure. I mean you're gonna always, when you have open phones, there's gonna be gems and there's gonna be junk.
I mean, that's just sort of the nature of that.
So it's our job as professional broadcasters to go find the gems that are there for interviews and do great programming without calls while we're on site in these sorts of locations.
Right. And so in this case, we were, by circumstance, we had to do something different. We already had been recording shows when we were at Bitcoin conferences, and so we just decided to do the same thing at the Somaliafest and Shirefest. And I think it really worked out. It really worked out well, in my opinion. It was our first time ever recording shows at those locations. We always broadcasting live, and even when you're broadcasting live, there's always some janky stuff that goes on with like dropped connections and dropped packets and information, and it's always one challenge after another. And so recording at least eliminates the point of failure on performing the show, because you don't have anything. If you're just recording into microphones into a laptop, you're very unlikely going to have a failure in that technology. The failure always comes in on that campground when it comes to communicating out from the campground. So then we upload the files to our network. They played them back, and you guys got to hear what it was like to be at Somaliafest, the interviews that we always love to do there. Shirefest, that's right, Shirefest. It's now the competing festival that, Mark, you came up with and Shire Dude signed on to. Who announced that the number one rule of Shirefest is you have to have your own fest, which I think is a smart rule because it encourages more decentralization. And I wanted to comment on the decentralized aspect of Shirefest and Somaliafest. It was, I thought that was good. I mean, I thought it was a good first-year event. I mean, I didn't expect the campground to be packed in any way, and it wasn't. But there was a slow trickle of people who were coming in and enjoying themselves throughout the day and at night, and just kind of enjoying each other's company. There wasn't any special speaker. There wasn't some big name politician or, TV star or whoever. There was nobody who was scheduled to be there. It was just camping. It was just libertarians camping in the woods. And what will grow from that beginning, I don't know. I'm kind of interested and excited to find out over time to see what happens next year with Shirefest, because I suspect it's going to happen again. And so we'll certainly let you know as we know more about that.
Well, for me, the roadmap is already laid out. So the Porcupine Freedom Festival started, I can't tell you how many years ago, but something like
13 or 14.
13 years ago with the Escape to New Hampshire. Then the Pork Fest came the first go-around. And, at none of these events was there a big deal. You were just talking to some activists. Maybe there'd be a speech scheduled, but it was somebody who was already in New Hampshire. I can't remember the first time they brought in a big name, but, I don't know that the big names were necessary for this. I kind of feel like, it grew to its level with the excitement of being with friends.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Get started at Dash.org. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help us create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org and get your own Dash wallet today. That's Dash.org.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-346-8194. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To Buy $1 million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-346-8194. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-346-8194. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-346-8194. 800-346-8194.
The only nation where this regularly happens concludes that there's no way to prevent this. A college rape victim is pretty thrilled about recounting her assault to a faculty committee, and the nation's depressed individuals march on the Atlantic Ocean. This is the Onion Week in Review. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Eric Shinseki announced plans this week to improve healthcare for American veterans with a new $500 million state-of-the-art waiting room. The 150,000 square foot complex will reportedly feature a wide selection of magazines, 2 water coolers, and receptionists who will immediately give veterans vague answers about how long they can expect to sit there before receiving inadequate healthcare. And in this week's commentary, a local man finds owning a cat is a great way to meet women who magically appear in your living room. In other news, a new study finds employee morale drastically improves after watching a coworker throw a fit. A wise oracle proclaims to all at a barbecue that he felt a raindrop, and an elderly man is hailed as alert.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Hey, Free Talk Live here. You can join us on the radio and take control of the airwaves. You can bring up whatever you want. Just dial on in here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. First time in not quite a whole week, but almost, that we've been able to take phone calls. We've been live, well, not really live, but recorded live on the road from Rogers Campground for the last several days. Mark, you took off 2 days before I did. I think, Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, you drove out of there as soon as we finished recording that show. I stayed on through this morning, leaving at around 9 a.m., so right at around the time when the Porcupine Freedom Festival officially began. And
did they kick you out?
No, they didn't. I mean, I don't know how long I would have been able to stay before they did, but it was funny. I was offered, on multiple occasions, I was offered the ability to be smuggled in the campground, like stay on people's campsites or in people's campsites, and like kind of just be ferreted around secretly and silently throughout all of the Porcupine Freedom Festival. One particular location, I won't say which one, to protect the folks involved. They said that they would lock down their campsite and require a wristband in order for anyone to get in. So so there would be, total security around who could get into their place and keep me there. And and they would get me whatever it is I wanted them to get me.
Sounds like fun.
I could have stayed at PorcFest secretly and lived like a king, a probably very dirty king, at this one campsite. And I said I'm honored.
Security would have been circling.
I said I'm honored by the invitation, but I probably need to go home. I've got stuff that needs to get done.
Indeed.
It's one thing to spend a week in a campground. It's another thing to spend two. And I would if I could, but it was just, the responsibilities call, and it's just hard to get anything done from that campground. Man, if you've got something you need to get done, you better just leave the damn campground and go to McDonald's, just because, there's always so many people.
The broadband.
Well, not just for the broadband, but just because it's just so easy to get involved in a conversation and get distracted, and you want to talk to people. You don't, if you're sitting there on a laptop and people want to talk to you, you want to have an interaction. You don't want to just sit there and
all our remote broadcasts, every convention I go to, the camping festivals, whatever it might be, it all exists in sort of a time warp.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I didn't stay, is because I could only afford so much time to be warped.
Mm-hmm.
They've got things to do back at my place.
The email just piles up.
It does.
Even though you don't really have anything to do during the day, effectively, you could get up and sit by a pool all day if you wanted to. So there's really nothing to do except for the things you come up with on that campground, except for hang out and talk to folks. Despite all the illusion of time that you have, you really can't use any of it in any sort of productive capacity besides what you can find in that moment right there in front of you in the campground. So it was great. Somaliafest, Shirefest. What I was thinking of doing for those of you who are there, and I've yet to figure out how to do this. I've started a thread on a Shirefest forum, created a forum, Mark, for Shirefest on the Shire Society forum. So for people who were there this year and for people who are planning to go next year.
How would they get there? How would they find it?
Forum.shiresociety.com. That'll take you right there. And I put a thread up about a picture dump. So what I took a bunch of cool pictures. I didn't take a whole lot, but I took some that were pretty cool, like of the rave that Will Coley had.
How was that?
It was fantastic. Dude, he was great. Great DJ, and went for 5 hours straight on Monday night. It was only supposed to be 3 hours. It was supposed to be 8 p.m.
That's
to 11.
That's what happens when you don't drink.
Yeah, man, he's a performer.
Yeah.
And Will Coley from Muslims for Liberty, of course, who we've had on the show a number of times, turns out he's a killer DJ as well, and he just, he rocked out the electronic music tracks and until the wee hours in the morning. The Rogers campground manager was even there partying with us after hours, because you're not supposed to make noise after 11 o'clock at Rogers Campground, but it went for another 2 hours after that, and she showed up and was dancing with us. So
awesome!
I guess we were on her good side for that, so that was much appreciated. But yeah, man, it was a great time. And so the people who have photos from Shirefest and Somaliafest, what I thought would be cool, because everybody's going to upload their pictures to their Facebook page or Instagram or whatever. But I thought it would be cool if there was some way, and I'm sure there are like a bunch of them, but I don't know what they are. And my point of posting this thread on the Shire Society forums and the new Shirefest forum at forum.shiresociety.com was kind of just feel out what the options are. Like, what are the options for creating a dumping grounds for photos where a group of people can just upload all their pictures into one big place where you can, organize or figure out who's got what, or at the very least see it all. That way, it's not just a bunch of individuals uploading to their Facebook pages, which if you don't know individual A, you won't get to see individual A's pictures. So, I know there's got to be some sort of awesome tool for this. I just don't know what it is. So that's kind of step one, is to ascertain what's the best platform, what's the best app, what's the best website for group photo uploading. That preferably has some sort of backup feature as well, to where if the site goes out of business, the pictures would still be downloadable. So would love to have people's input on that. I'm sure we have some brilliant listeners who've done this before, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's this tool. So you can go over to forum.shiresociety.com and post in there. And so my idea was, Mark, to sort of collect pictures from whoever it was that was taking pictures. I know Shire Dude had a video camera there, so I'm sure he's got something. Collect the people who had pictures from Shirefest and Somaliafest and put them all in one place. That way we can then promote those photos. People can pick their favorites or share those on social media, like, oh, look what you missed. This is what happened at, Shire. Oh, you're at Porkfest? Well, here's what you missed at Shirefest because you didn't come, 5 days early and hang out with the decentralized, libertarians and anarchists and voluntarists. This is what you missed out. I think that would be kind of a cool thing, because that's a good sales tactic, right? The
Agreed.
Fear of missing out. And hopefully it'll be even better and bigger next year, and that the decentralized aspect will keep bringing interesting events like the rave that Will threw, or the big party that Jim Babb threw, from former co-host on the Freedom Fiends. He threw last night, the very last night of Shirefest. He threw a pretty epic campfire party out at his campground, and it was nice because, again, we were recording shows, so we got to hang out every night that we were at Shirefest. That was a new thing for Free Talk Live. Getting actually more social time at night was something fresh and fun. But Jim Babb, of course, threw this party right in the middle of the conservative camping area where a bunch of pork festers were already setting up. So some lady got mad at 1 o'clock in the morning.
As they tend to. Yeah. It's it's one of the problems with sort of mixing these groups. Right. You've got this sort of group of people that want to do a family thing, go to bed at a reasonable hour, not have people tromping through their sites and leaving their kids unattended, and all the reasonable complaints that they have. They're completely reasonable, these complaints. And then there's people that go for a party, and it just doesn't fit real well.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And I think that schisms, they hurt people sometimes when they happen, but I've always been in favor of embracing the schism, or for a long time have been in favor of embracing that schism. And I think this is a good thing. I think that having these two events is ultimately going to lead to more people that'll be happy on both ends of things. More people that want to have more of a party atmosphere, and the people that want to have the more safe, family-friendly atmosphere. They can go to PorkFest. The people that want to have fun can go to Shirefest. And there will inevitably still be some crossover between the two events, but I think that it's for the better to see how this new flower is going to blossom, how this new thing, this creative destruction that has happened from the ashes of what was the old PorkFest. This new event is more of what the old PorkFest used to be. More decentralized within. There's no committee. There's no security enforcement. There's no, it's just people camping. And then if you want to speak, you want to have a stage with speakers, well, get constructing, because you can build a stage and put speakers on it. Just rent a campsite, put a stage on it. You want to perform music? Go ahead, perform some music. So people will put these things together on their own. Will it mean that there's going to be a fancy John Stossel or somebody like that coming at some point? No, I don't think that. It's very unlikely that somebody attending Shirefest is going to be like, I really want John Stossel to come, so I'll throw down $10,000
John
for that.
Stossel is welcome, though.
Yeah, sure. As would be anyone else who wanted to attend.
BYOB, buddy.
So that's kind of my initial thoughts on the Shirefest, and I think that I'm going to write up like a piece about it for freekeen.com when I get a chance to breathe. I mean, we're always in catch-up mode after these things are done. Still haven't even unpacked yet. I got home and went to sleep because I had been up all night. And hopefully I got some really nice sunrise pictures, because I took probably like 200 or something like that at this morning. So we'll see about that too. Once we get the pictures online, we will let you know where to find them. Meanwhile, if you were at Shirefest or Somaliafest, jump on the Shire Society forums and say hello to your camping neighbors at forum.shiresociety.com. More Free Talk Live is on the way. Coming up, hour number 2.
Bitcoin.com is the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Buying Bitcoin? Do it here. Want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users? Our forum is always open and censorship free at forum.bitcoin.com. There's no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team. That's why this site is a one-stop shop for everything you need to get into Bitcoin life. You can also play games at games.bitcoin.com. Learn more at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from White Mountains in the Shire, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, June 21st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.48 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,247 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,715. Antiwar.com reports over the past several weeks, U.S. military actions within Syria have been less and less centered on the Islamic State, with a handful of operations targeting Shiite militias in southern Syria and even shooting down a Syrian government aircraft over the weekend. This isn't just the U.S. idly getting into one-off fights in the course of a war they've already been fighting in Syria, but rather is reflective of a push by White House officials, with multiple National Security Council members looking at the Syrian war less as a fight against the Islamic State and more as a chance to pick a fight with Iran. The Pentagon has made clear they object, and Defense Secretary James Mattis personally rejected multiple proposals related to this. Still, attacks on Shiite militias whenever they get sort of close to a U.S.-backed rebel base, and a public narrative presenting the militias as necessarily in league with Iran, have found the U.S. heading down that path anyhow. This isn't a new battle. The Pentagon has been battling the CIA in recent years in a rather public fight over the war, with the CIA keen to make the war about regime change and by extension fighting Iran, while the Pentagon has sought to keep the focus on fighting the Islamic State. This is increasingly becoming a battle within the White House, as the administration's review of policies towards various different nations has included a review of Iran, and as well as other reviews, it seems to be leaning heavily towards picking new fights, and in the case of Iran, that fight is most readily fought in Syria. Since the early days of the Syrian civil war, there have been hawks viewing it as a potential proxy war against a key Iranian ally, and that view has only grown, which, combined with the Trump administration's general hostility towards Iran, is pushing the U.S. into widening their involvement in Syria.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the Federal Trade Commission said it will attempt to block the merger of the DraftKings FanDuel Fantasy Sports websites because it would likely establish a monopoly. The FTC on Monday said it had authorized legal action to block the merger because the combined firm would control more than 90% of the U.S. market for paid daily fantasy sports contests. The FTC said in a statement, DraftKings and FanDuel are each other's most significant competitor. At present, the two companies battle head-to-head to offer the best prices and product quality, including the largest prize pools and greatest variety of contests. The proposed merger would create a single provider with by far the largest share of the market for paid daily fantasy sports contests in the United States. The Attorneys General of California and Washington, D.C. will join the FTC in filing a complaint in a federal district court to seek a preliminary injunction to stop the merger ahead of an administrative trial, which is scheduled to begin November 21st.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
Reuters reports the parents of Michael Brown and the city of Ferguson, Missouri have settled a lawsuit over his fatal shooting by a police officer in 2014. Brown's death triggered sometimes violent protests in Ferguson and around the United States, fueled by later police killings of unarmed men in other cities. It also helped spark a debate about racial bias in the United States justice system. Terms of the wrongful death settlement between Ferguson and Brown's parents were not disclosed. U.S. District Judge E. Richard Weber approved the settlement and ordered it sealed. Both James Knowles, the mayor of the St. Louis suburb, and Anthony Gray, the lead attorney for Brown's parents, declined comment. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
After the USDA unveiled its updated roommate food pyramid earlier this week, Department of Agriculture spokesman Michael Lowry spoke to Onion reporters about just how many servings of someone else's food roommates should be consuming on a day-to-day basis.
Under the new guidelines, roommates should eat at least 4 portions of someone else's grains per day, including 1 to 2 cups of already opened cereal. Of course, this is all in addition to the 8 to 16 swigs of milk and orange juice spaced out over a few days.
Lowry emphasized that many aspects of the new roommate food pyramid are unchanged from the previous version, including a recommended daily intake of 24 ounces of lunch meat straight from the bag and 5 to 7 weekly finger scoops of Erica's peanut butter.
Remember to limit your intake of sugar and sweets from half-open containers, especially if they're Jessica's, because she'll definitely notice.
For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And with you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
Finally back in Keene, New Hampshire. Beautiful Keene studios where we can actually show you a video feed again, and we can take phone calls because we're no longer in the middle of the woods at Rogers Campground in the northern White Mountains of New Hampshire. But there are still a number of people who are up there as the Porcupine Freedom Festival has begun today and continues throughout the weekend, so I wish them the best of luck. It looked like, it was going to turn out to be a decently attended pork fest. I mean, there were a lot of people who were rolling in yesterday, which was the day before the Porcupine Freedom Festival. I mean, a lot of people showed up yesterday, so I would imagine if that level of people showing up continues, in the pork fest, generally tends to have a lot of people come in Friday and Saturday, peaks on Saturday night, and then that's it. I expect that same pattern will occur this weekend, and I think people there will probably have a great time. But maybe it'll be a little smaller. We don't know. Maybe it'll be bigger than last year. Some people were saying this was going to be their last pork fest, but maybe others had come back this year, and they felt a little more comfortable coming back after protesting the last one. So we'll see. And I'll have a little recap written up for freekeen.com about Shirefest and Somaliafest and the future of what could happen down the line. So let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. Coming up, we've got, cultural appropriation, Venezuela update, Whole Foods taking over Amazon, an update on the young man who was delivered back from North Korea in a coma. It's not good news. And we'll take your calls and thoughts. Let's go to Bob. He's in Milwaukee. Bob, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello there.
Well, hello. Good evening. How are you doing?
Welcome. You're on the air. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, I wanted to lift up the Congressional Women's Softball game. They're playing the Bad News Babes in Washington, D.C. at Watkins. at the Capitol, and they started this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So they're playing as we speak.
Now, why does that matter to you?
Well, they're raising money for young women with breast cancer.
Okay.
Just young women with breast cancer?
Well, women under the age of 40.
Okay.
Breast cancer. So there's others
Why do
that
the women over the age of 40 don't? Why do they not matter?
They do matter, but this group's focus is on the younger women.
Yeah, you gotta have a focus. I mean, it's I'm trying to figure it all out, but okay.
Sorry, lady, you've got breast cancer and you just turned 41.
Yeah, there's
You're
plenty
gonna
of
have to go
focus on
somewhere else.
breast cancer generally, and it's if you're going to have a charity, you have to focus on something.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of charities out there. What else are they doing that's noteworthy? Or are you just announcing that they have a baseball game coming up?
Well, they've had a game and they didn't get their practice didn't get shot up, so that's good.
Okay, I guess that is good.
Well, I'd sort of like to find out if anybody's able to help us with scores as they go along. I'm not able to follow it. I don't have the TV or the.
This isn't a sports show, so no, we're not going to be able to do that. But I imagine
I have no clue.
Well,
yeah, I imagine
I'm sorry about your attitude. Goodbye.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with attitude. I just find sports to be boring. Nothing personal. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. I mean, I'm not going to give you the wrestling updates either, although Daryl, I bet, would if he were here.
Yeah, I got no clue what the, but I don't know how you're going to find out that information. I suppose what you'd need to do is search for it on Facebook. Maybe you can find somebody live streaming it. Look for a hashtag Women's Congressional Softball or something.
Unlikely, but it's possible. It would be better than asking us for help.
Yeah, right, more effective than that.
Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. I mean, look, if you love sports, that's awesome. Everybody needs to have a hobby.
I think that the guy, the guy's, for whatever reason, he's interested in this game and he's interested in the charity that's involved. I have no particular problem with that.
Good for him. But we're not going to get on the air and give local sports scores ever on this show.
That much is true, certainly. But do you see how he might have experienced a little surliness from you, though?
Sure. He seemed a little surly.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe he was projecting.
Why do you? No. I heard surliness too. So why do you think you might have felt surly toward this guy?
I don't feel surly towards him.
That's what you always say.
Yeah,
I'm sitting over here completely peacefully telling the world to go to hell.
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just like sports are boring. Who cares? Who cares about sports? I mean, a lot of people care, but I don't. And this is my show. So we're going to go on. 855-450-FREE. That's
Free Talk Live. Call in about anything you want to talk about.
450-3733. He did call in about what he wanted to talk about.
He did, yeah.
And he talked about it.
Yes, he did.
And then we moved on. See, that's a misconception about Free Talk Live, is that just because you can call about what you want doesn't mean you get to talk forever. I mean, my God, if we let that happen, we'd have the most boring seminar callers you could ever imagine.
It's true.
Who would just feel entitled to go on. And then sometimes people will complain about that. At least to his credit, he didn't complain about it. He just didn't like it. So, some people out complain about they didn't get enough time to say what they wanted to. Well, look, most shows wouldn't even let you on the air. If you're not on the topic that the talk show host wants to discuss, you don't get on 99% of every talk show that has ever been produced. That's how it works. So, if you want sports, there's all kinds of sports stations, and even them, I don't think they would give you updates on the women's congressional.
I think the best bet is going on Facebook and looking.
Yeah. So, toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Let's go to Skype, where Stefan is on the line from Ohio. Hello, Stefan.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
You enjoy your festival?
Yeah, man. It was fantastic.
What was on my mind today is I was thinking a lot about this earlier. What do you guys think of GMOs, for example?
Genetically modified organism?
Yes.
So
how they people are freaking out because apparently they can modify a tomato seed, for example, to grow a ton more tomatoes than it usually does.
I support it. I think that experimenting with nature is something that man has always done, and as long as we do it as responsibly as possible, I think it's a good thing. If it can mean greater yields for crops, that means feeding more hungry people around the world. That ultimately, I think, is the is the goal, to increase the amount of yield per square foot of cubic foot or whatever of farming space.
You have found my Achilles heel when it comes to the government. Most people out there that are voluntarists are they have one sort of pet government issue, and mine is food labeling. And,
you want to force food labeling on people?
I just think that consumers are too stupid.
How in the world, Mark, do they exist in Europe and China and other countries where they don't have the same food labeling requirements?
The same. They have more strict in
Maybe
many
in
cases.
some of Europe, but in a lot of
China,
cases
I can tell you how they exist with lead in their paint. That's how they exist. In many cases, people don't
eat paint chips. Okay, it's a bad idea.
It's good advice, but sometimes that happens.
But it's tasty.
Well, no, actually, what I learned, this is something I learned recently at a hearing at the State House. Normally they're dreadfully boring, and this was a particularly boring hearing. It was about lead paint rules in New Hampshire and like updating them or something like that. And they answered the question of why lead paint was so dangerous when, it's not like people are specifically eating paint chips. That's not the problem. The thing is, like, the lead is heavy, so it comes like down and sits on the floor. So like the lead dust or whatever stays there. And so the babies that are crawling around on the floor,
licking the floor,
and then putting their thumb in their mouth, that's how they're getting the lead poisoning. So I thought that was interesting, and it'll happen like from the inside of window jams. So like if you're opening and closing a window, and then little bits of lead come down and
that's how it works
down onto the floor. So I learned some stuff about that.
You talked about maybe overseas there was a lot of labeling issues. Well, a lot of the regulations on food are more stringent. I would argue a lot of the stuff we eat here is probably illegal over there. And even now, people don't know what they're eating.
It depends. I think it's a mixed bag. I mean, I'm always pleasantly surprised when somebody comes back from another country and like brings home a few little gifts, and I look at the labeling and I'm like, this doesn't say anything about what's in this product. And it's always an adventure eating that stuff because it seems risky. It seems scary. More coming up here. Hang on, Stefan. We'll continue with labeling and GMOs in moments.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, I would recommend Dynovite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a big tube of Doggo Suds free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Suds shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
When I get to about 3/4,
when I get down to the bottom, a couple more scoops,
it's time to place my order.
Dynovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a big tube of Doggo Suds free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Suds shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
If it's working, don't quit. DINOVITE.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the
problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free here at 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, and the Skype username tonight is LRN.FM. With you here in the studio, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And Bitcoin.com. It's the online destination in the Bitcoin universe. If you're buying Bitcoin, you want to learn all about Bitcoin, Bitcoin.com is a great place to go to do that. Maybe you want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users. They've got a forum, and it's always open and censorship-free at forum.bitcoin.com. It's a great site, and it's packed full of useful news and information over at news.bitcoin.com. Of course, as we mentioned actually during the Shirefest, we did manage to get the news headline that that Bitcoin has now received over 70% and now over 80% actually of the mining or the new Bitcoin proposal, SegWit 2x, to increase the block size and add segregated witness, these technologies that will supposedly help Bitcoin scale up for the future.
World War Geek has been won, and that's really the end of the story.
Well, it ain't over yet.
It ain't over yet.
It ain't over yet. Don't be singing there, Miss Fat Lady.
We'll see if they can bring something back. But it looks like World War Geek is over.
It's looking good. It's looking promising for the future of Bitcoin with this 80% of the mining power now behind this new SegWit 2x profile.
I sold some altcoin. I bought some Bitcoin today.
You're getting out of the altcoins?
Not entirely out of the altcoins.
You're confident, huh? You're confident.
I just feel like this is a good time to be in Bitcoin for the next few weeks or whatever. I don't have a problem with diversifying into altcoins, but that's what I'm saying. And so if people want to, they can take my advice. It's not even advice. It's just the truth.
So if you want to learn the latest about what's going on with Bitcoin, because the 80% that are on board with the miners, they're not yet doing SegWit. They're just signaling that they will do SegWit when the time comes, which will be in about 1 month from today. So we still have some waiting to do, Mark. These fees that are so detrimental to the possible future of Bitcoin, the insane Bitcoin fees that have been going on over the last few months, those are not going down anytime soon. We're going to have several weeks more that we'll have to wait until SegWit gets activated, because right now they're just running alpha software. They are in a testing phase at this moment. So we got to wait. The bugs got to get ironed out. The beta's got to come out at the end of the month. They got to run that beta for a good few weeks before they'll feel comfortable with flipping the on switch. So we got some time here, and hopefully Bitcoin will not lose completely its market dominance, which it has for the last few months, gone down from about 85% of the total market cap of all cryptocurrencies combined down to, as of right now, according to coincap.io, which is a great little website that has all kinds of info about Bitcoin on it and other cryptocurrencies. It is currently at 40.5%, and it had dipped below 40% over the weekend. So 40% for Bitcoin's market domination. It's barely in the lead at this point. I mean, it's only got several $billion on top of Ethereum, which it says $31 billion for Ethereum.
Took a bit of a beating today. On one exchange, it dropped down to $13 and a flash drop.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it's back up.
It's at 332 right now, though.
Right, just on one exchange. Yeah. And I would presume that exchange
could have been a fluke.
It was weird.
All right, so toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Let's go back to Stefan in Ohio. He called about genetically modified organisms and labeling. And, Mark, you said this is your pet issue, that you want to have the government, you want to have the FDA, USDA, you want to have these organizations around to force labeling on companies? I'm surprised.
When I see I look at countries that don't have labeling laws, and I see real problems as far as,
What are the problems?
There's all kinds of problems, Ian. There's things like, stuff going into food that people don't want,
like peanuts or something like that.
Well, that's a real issue. Like, people die from peanuts, right?
Yeah.
And people make fun of it. People are like, "Oh, no big deal. I'll bring some peanuts to work."
The
lady's
like, until your kid is until their
that?
Kid is dead or whatever.
Right. So, I mean, this is some really important stuff, and it. We
have to put important things in the government's hands? Is that what you're saying? If someone could die, then the government needs to get involved? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is the government's a monopoly on violence, right?
Uh-huh. And so we need to be violent to our neighbors if they don't label their things in the way that we want them to?
If you're going to label something as if you're not going to label something, put peanuts in the ingredients, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe it's done in a factory that does peanuts. If you're not going to make it clear to somebody who has these allergies or whatever, then don't you think there's some culpability in that?
But we already have laws like that. Every piece of candy I've ever seen in my life says, this was made in a factory that has peanuts and soy.
But Mark's defending that. He's saying that he wants the government around for that. Now he loves the federal government because they have labeling mandates.
I think you're.
What's next?
I think that's being a little extreme. Like, oh, he loves the federal government.
That's what Ian does for a living. Ian tries to goad me into an argument. He's just looking for the next time I call him
a voluntarist. I call him a BAMF. You want mandatory food labeling.
Whoa! Yes, you can. You don't get to decide what the label means. I'll explain what a voluntarist is. A voluntarist is a person who's willing to let the children go play on the other side of the street if they own that side of the street, and not go over there and shoot every one of them in the head when they don't follow the rules. You can go where you want and do what you want as long as you buy that stuff. Okay, as long as you own the property.
About?
I'm trying to tell you what a voluntarist is because you don't seem to know.
You're not making any sense.
You think a voluntarist can do anything that they want, and the answer is no.
No, a voluntarist is someone who believes that all human interaction is consensual. Period. That's the end of story.
Right. So you can go on your property and you can shove peanuts down the throats of every infant out there with allergies if that's what you want to do.
No, I don't want to do that. But I trust in the market to solve problems, not the violence of the state.
The market has not solved problems in this area in plenty of countries.
They haven't been allowed to.
Sure they have. You can. There's no law in the United States that says that you can't put, non-GMO on your labels. But the fact is, these aren't going on people's food. Now, I personally am for using genetically modified organisms to grow more food for more people.
Yeah.
However, I think that people should be able to decide what they get, what they buy and that sort of thing. And most manufacturers will fight against labeling.
But do people really know what they're buying? But think about it. Do people really know what they're buying now? I mean, for example, tonight we made like chicken strips for dinner, and I was like, oh, I wonder what's in these. I turn them around, and there's like 1,000 different ingredients. Do you think labeling really matters? It's already being labeled. So, I mean, it could be like...
Well, it is buyer beware either way. I mean,
Here's a scenario. Let's imagine that a magazine or a private group at a college comes together and say, we're going to rate foods. We can be like the Snopes of foods, and people can come onto our website or read our magazine or whatever, and we'll tell people exactly what's in it. I'm sure there would be somebody out there doing that.
We've got all kinds of online sources to find out every, unscientific non-fact about food that's out there. They're prevalent, and there's a great deal of them. So. Yeah, you can hunt this information down if you want to hunt it down. I just like manufacturers to want to label their products. And the fact that they don't want to makes me think they're crooks.
I'm sure there are plenty of manufacturers who would be happy to label their products. Thank you, Stefan, for the call tonight. There's more on the way here in moments. 855 450 free. Looks like Mark just turned in his volunteerist card. It's Free Talk Live.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Do you know what's lurking in your water? More than 200 contaminants could be sitting there, just waiting for your glass. With a ProPure water filter, start enjoying clean and great-tasting water today. ProPure filters, independently tested, latest water filter technology. ProPure systems do not require electricity and are easy to set up and easy to use. To find out more, visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You may dial in toll-free and bring up anything that you like. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And Skype on into the show. It's Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also, I do want to let you know that Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash. You've heard about Bitcoin, but do you know anything about Dash? Well, you ought to learn about it because Dash is on the rise. It's on the up and up. It's one of the most, I think, promising cryptocurrencies out there for people to look at because maybe Bitcoin isn't going to survive as the number one cryptocurrency forever. I mean, the Model T didn't last forever either. So, is Bitcoin days numbered? And what will rise to be its number one competitor? Maybe it'll be Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform that's designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, and easy. The fees are way lower than Bitcoin. And transactions are fast and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. And that's what people were doing at Shirefest. Nobody wanted to buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin at Shirefest this year. I mean, at previous Freedom Festivals in the woods at Rogers Campground, Bitcoin was tremendously popular.
King. Yeah.
But even I did not spend any Bitcoin while I was at Rogers Campground. And that was a first for me for years. I mean, I went and I bought some breakfast this morning, bought some Little Zoe's pizza the other day, and even though I could have paid Little Zoe's or the breakfast place with Bitcoin, I didn't do it. And I couldn't justify it. I'll keep doing it in Keene for a while, just because I want to keep bringing people business who accept Bitcoin here, just as almost a subsidy at this point, because I would feel bad if they didn't get any business with Bitcoin. But the average person isn't going to want to do that. Dash avoids that problem, among other things. You can go to dash.org to learn more about Dash, and you can help create a better financial system for everyone. Take control of your financial future today and find out more about Dash and why there's a lot of momentum behind it at dash.org.
If you search hashtag first-wallet, that's hashtag first-wallet, I guess there's ways to get free Dash by giving Dash to friends or something like this.
Is this a legit site?
Yeah, this is a contest that's being put out there. Yeah.
Okay.
So, this is legit.
Okay.
It's at dashforcenews.com. So.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Good info. So, so we'll talk to you about whatever's on your mind. I want to make sure you have a chance to clarify, Mark, because when we went off the air there, I accused you of giving up your voluntarist card.
Which you love to do. Like, you'd love to just snatch people's voluntarist and libertarians cards.
No, I only like doing it to you.
No, you do it to everyone.
No, it's only you.
No, it's everyone.
No, it's you. You're the only one I care about because you're the only one with a microphone.
Can I be a libertarian and still believe in a small amount of government?
Ish. You can be libertarian-ish.
No, that's not the question. You don't get to modify the questions. Yes, no question.
No, you don't.
Okay, thanks.
No, because a libertarian is basically a voluntarist.
Yeah, there you go.
And a voluntarist is someone who believes that all human interaction should be consensual. So it sounded like you were saying you wanted government-forced labeling, but now you told me off the air you didn't want that.
I think that the world with government-enforced labeling is better in that area than the world without.
But you're not willing to trade that in order to have a government?
Well, humans must have government. I am not unwilling
to have a government like a state
for a hierarchical, top-down, enforced government with a monopoly privilege and the use of violence in a given landmass. No.
Okay.
I don't think it's worth that particular trade.
Okay. You had me going there, man. I thought that you were ready to give up, peace in favor of some sort of mandatory gun to the head for labeling. I'm glad to hear about that.
If you're a manufacturer that doesn't want to list all your ingredients in your product because you don't think people will want to buy them because of for whatever reason, you're a douche.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, well, then that's why we should allow the marketplace to handle these situations.
The marketplace has not done as well as it could in this area. It is true enough. I am sitting right here next to a box of organic green Actives chocolate bar things with, I don't know, they're 90% raw, gluten-free.
Sounds awful.
They're very good. Or they're as good as any of these sports bars. I shouldn't say they're very good. But they're good. They're made by, in this case, Organic food bar. No, that's what it's called. I don't know. There, you can look over it and find out who it's made by. I don't have my reading glasses on. Looks like Active Greens chocolate is the flavor in this one.
And what about it?
They are labeled there's labels all along the edge of this. If you go to the right stores, you will find labels all over your food. So in this case, they've got a solar label. They've got a certified gluten-free label.
Many of these are probably not government mandated.
The USDA organic one is. And the non-GMO one exists on here, too. There's another one here that I can't read with the K inside the apple. You gave away my reading glasses, and I've never gotten them back.
I didn't give anybody your reading glasses.
Where'd they go?
I have no idea, dude.
They just disappeared one day. So anyway, we can see that the marketplace can label. It's just that they tend not to. The big food manufacturers out there do not want labeling. And they fight very hard with the government to prevent sort of government-mandated labeling. And I like the fact that I can find out how many carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are in a given food and whatever. That's information I want to have. But I'm not always going to want to go to the store and pay probably 4 times as much for my bar of whatever.
You mentioned this non-GMO label thing. This appears to be a voluntary label.
The non-GMO was. The USDA organic, check that one out, buddy.
Well, it's got USDA in front of it. Obviously, that's a government label. But my point is that there are non-governmental labels.
I said that.
Yeah.
There are non-governmental labels on this. I'm pointing out that this has non-governmental labels on it. There are case examples for both sides.
Right. So, if
you can go to the stuff that's imported from China at a very extraordinarily low price, that ends up with paint chips or whatever in it. I have no clue. You don't have any clue because it's not labeled. We don't know.
It's part of the fun of eating it.
Yeah, that's fun.
You never know what you're going to get.
It's fun.
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Maybe Otto Warmbier over in North Korea ate some non-labeled foods while he was in the North Korean prison that he was being held in for stealing a sign from the hotel that he was staying at like a year and a half ago. We did get the news while we were in sort of on our working vacation there from Rogers Campground that Otto Warmbier was returned from North Korea to the United States in a state of coma. Now, the update from, I believe, yesterday at MSN.com says the university student...
Is the state of room temperature?
...was detained for nearly a year and a half. He died Monday afternoon, just days after he returned home in a coma. According to his parents, he had been medically evacuated last week from North Korea and was being treated at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. His parents did not specify the cause of death, but they made clear in a written statement they blamed North Korea for what happened. Their son was arrested in January of 2016 at the end of a brief tourist visit to the isolated country. And, of course, he made a video confession, which was obviously scripted by the North Korean government. And then they put him in some sort of a prison labor camp, after which he relatively quickly ended up in a coma, was in a coma for more than a year of his captivity there.
Well, we really don't know what that's the report. We don't know what the truth is.
Correct.
But I tend to believe that. Wouldn't it just make sense that he would say, hey, I was just taking the propaganda posters so that I could show it around to my friends, tell them how great North Korea was? It's just, why wouldn't they give him a truckload and send him home? Here's a bunch for your suitcase. Go on round eye. Have a nice time.
Well, they're just not that kind of state, Mark.
They certainly aren't.
They just want to crack down and teach the people a lesson.
It seemed like they wanted to use him as a, some kind of bargaining chip. Why that would be, I couldn't say, but there you go. I think that the people that used his whiteness and white privilege and all that other crap as a sort of excuse for why this happened to him and how they're not so, whatever, they're not so upset, they suck. Those people suck.
Yeah, and of course this is giving politicians in the U.S. the opportunity to grandstand about how tough they ought to be towards North Korea.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. We can share some of that if we want coming up here, and you can share your thoughts with us on this or labeling food or whatever is on your mind. You can take control of the airwaves. Just dial in toll-free to join us at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And you can join us on Skype as well. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. Call in how you want. Get on the radio with us. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Ely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-958-9256. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-958-9256. Call 1-800-958-9256. 1-800-958-9256.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-346-8194. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-346-8194. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-346-8194. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-346-8194. 800-346-8194.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live dial, toll free. Join us on the radio here. You can bring up whatever you want and take control of the airwaves. Our number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We're talking about Otto Warmbier, the American who was arrested in North Korea over a year ago for stealing a sign, taking it down, probably with the intention of taking it home. But they caught him, and it was a sign at the hotel he was staying at, some sort of political propaganda, which is very common over in North Korea, as I understand it. And
I believe he went to a staff floor.
Yeah, that's what they said.
And got it, is the claim.
But wherever it was, he wasn't supposed to. And he was celebrating New Year's, which means he was probably, drunk at the time, not thinking too clearly. And the punishment for that is apparently now death, with him having died after being in a coma now for over a year. In detention in North Korea was what was intended to be a work camp, a labor camp prison sentence of 15 years. Ended up being he was in a coma relatively quickly thereafter. And some obviously speculate that it might have had to do with abuse at the hands of the guards, which of course is a good, fair speculation, I would say. What are the odds that a relatively healthy young college boy will just fall into a coma on his own? I would say pretty slim. So
it could have been drug-induced, so maybe they gave him some kind of, mixture to get him to tell the truth or whatever. And maybe they're going to ask him some questions about American life, and, I don't know, they OD'd him or something. This is another possibility. It seems unlikely that they would have tortured him. What would be the point?
I mean, there's no point in torture. I mean, it's just, guards are sadistic in some cases. It's just sort of the nature of doing that job. The old Stanford prison experiment. You put people in a position of authority, and they embrace that role. That's something where they just start acting like they are a guard and start behaving in sadistic and twisted manners. That happened with just some college students who in no way knew that they were going to be chosen to be a guard. They didn't know what they were even signing up for when they took part in the Stanford prison experiment, and they didn't know they were going to be, a guard or a prisoner or whatever. But the ones that ended up being guards ended up acting like guards and being, in some ways, sadistic towards their wards. I mean, that was just in a little experiment that lasted like a week or something like that. So, you start putting real power into men's hands and real weapons and the ability to get away with murder in a lot of cases. Don't be surprised when people start getting away with it and they start wielding that power as they darn well please. So, but I think what's interesting is how the government here is responding to it. And according to the story over at, MSN.com, they got quote here from Senator John McCain, who said in a statement, quote, Otto Warmbier, an American citizen, was murdered by the Kim Jong-un regime in the final year of his life. He lived a nightmare in which the North Korean people have been trapped for 70 years, forced labor, mass starvation, systematic cruelty, torture, and murder. North Korea is threatening its neighbors, destabilizing the Asia-Pacific region, and rapidly developing the technology to strike the American homeland with nuclear weapons. Now it has escalated into brutalizing Americans, including 3 other citizens currently imprisoned in North Korea. The United States of America cannot and should not tolerate the murder of its citizens by hostile powers. But when it comes to murdering their own citizens, that is totally fine. The United States will give those people awards and promotions because when the police murder people here, they get a pat on the back.
It's like the big brother that abuses the little sibling on a regular basis, and then
protect him from being attacked.
But a bully comes along and smacks the little sibling, and the big brother goes out there and beats the hell out of the bully.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, we see so many stories here in the United States about police abuse. We see, you can go to copblock.org, you can go to photographyisnotacrime.com, and you can spend a day reading all kinds of abuse stories,
the full day.
Watching video, watching stories where the police who are involved in these beatings and murders get away with it time and time and time again. Over 1,000 people who were murdered at the hands of police last year alone in the United States. Just record numbers for the entire world, and yet we're expected to believe that the Kim Jong-un administration is the greatest threat to freedom. No, the threat to freedom is right here within the borders of the United States. It's called the federal government and your state governments.
Well, you think that that's the biggest threat to freedom on the planet?
Our freedom? It's the biggest threat to our freedom.
So,
it's the enemy within, not without.
I would concur with you that the government is a threat to freedom. I wonder to myself, what what other people think when you say something like that. So it's important to qualify a statement. When people are concerned with threats of freedom, like, I don't know, criminals running amok, right? When you say
like the government.
Yeah. Well, those are criminals in power.
That's right.
And the suggestion is that when the void of the criminals in power occurs, then the criminals will attempt to fill that void. Now, the fact is we can show regularly all the time that, frankly, police aren't needed for peaceful neighborhoods and peaceful communities, that there are communities all over that have very low crime that don't have very much as far as a police force goes. The town I live in doesn't have a police force. There's a state police that you can call in if some felony occurs or something like that, but it rarely happens. So, that's an issue. There are some places that, frankly, are a heck of a lot more violent. And one wonders what would happen if the state-enforced monopoly on policing was taken away from those places.
You mean in the United States?
In the United States, there's some very violent places, right?
Sure.
And
Baltimore.
I tend to think you have to get it to a level of sort of calm stability before you begin stripping off those the strictures.
Oh, I disagree. I mean, I think that people... Yeah, I think that there's an argument that the police actually end up creating crime. That it's a little conspiratorial, but in areas in which the police forces have been removed, crime's gone down. Like towns that have completely eliminated their police forces, crime's gone down. Why is that? Are the police literally out there fomenting crime for them to have an excuse to make arrests so they can have an excuse for a budget the next year?
In many cases, there's so many things that are illegal that they're arresting people for. Right? There's ways to lie with statistics, right? When people think of crime, what they're really mostly concerned with are property crimes and violent crimes, and most of the property crimes should be above a certain level for them to sort of care, if you know what I mean. And obviously, violent crimes are very important. Most of the crimes that police are arresting people for are drug crimes. And I'm talking above the violation level. Drug crimes, and most of those crimes are, marijuana in the states where marijuana is still illegal.
Right. Warmbier's death could push Congress to restrict or ban Americans from traveling to North Korea, which I'm surprised it hasn't been already, given that they don't allow people to go to Cuba. The Senate, state representatives, or rather U.S. House representatives from California and South Carolina have introduced the North Korea Travel Control Act to the House, which would require Americans who want to travel to North Korea to obtain a license. There would be no licenses for tourists. The Senate has been more reluctant to introduce restrictions on Americans, but Warmbier's death might be the trigger that they need, say analysts. I disagree with that as an approach here. If you want to risk going into, the lion's den, then you should be free to take that risk. I would not go to North Korea. I think it sounds like while it would be a fascinating thing to do to actually see this prison state in real life, it is just, it just seems like a crazy thing to go to North Korea. I mean, maybe it's not as bad as they say that it is, but...
Well, I think that what you're seeing here is one circumstance of one college kid who, in all likelihood, imbibed too much alcohol and decided he was going to be, froggy, and things went poorly for him. I would imagine that hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans visit North Korea every year, and therefore I would guess that many thousands of other foreigners visit North Korea every year. And, things go okay. There are three, as I understand, as I recall, there are 3 Americans still incarcerated in North Korea. But, most of those people were activists. Otto Warmbier apparently was a dummy.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, according to Vox.com, over 800 Americans go to North Korea each year. So just curious as to how many that was. 800.
Okay.
855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733 for $2,000. You can get the ultimate experience of touring Pyongyang on Victory Day, the festival where North Koreans commemorate the end of the Korean War. So there you go, $2,000. We'll get you there and back, hopefully. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Buying Bitcoin? Do it here. Want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users? Our forum is always open and censorship free at forum.bitcoin.com. There's no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team. That's why this site is a one-stop shop for everything you need to get into Bitcoin life. You can also play games at games.bitcoin.com. Learn more at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. Coincap.io. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from White Mountains in the Shire, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, June 21st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.48 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,247 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,715. Antiwar.com reports over the past several weeks, U.S. military actions within Syria have been less and less centered on the Islamic State, with a handful of operations targeting Shiite militias in southern Syria and even shooting down a Syrian government aircraft over the weekend. This isn't just the U.S. idly getting into one-off fights in the course of a war they've already been fighting in Syria, but rather is reflective of a push by White House officials, with multiple National Security Council members looking at the Syrian war less as a fight against the Islamic State and more as a chance to pick a fight with Iran. The Pentagon has made clear they object, and Defense Secretary James Mattis personally rejected multiple proposals related to this. Still, attacks on Shiite militias whenever they get sort of close to a U.S.-backed rebel base, and a public narrative presenting the militias as necessarily in league with Iran, have found the U.S. heading down that path anyhow. This isn't a new battle. The Pentagon has been battling the CIA in recent years in a rather public fight over the war, with the CIA keen to make the war about regime change and by extension fighting Iran, while the Pentagon has sought to keep the focus on fighting the Islamic State. This is increasingly becoming a battle within the White House, as the administration's review of policies towards various different nations has included a review of Iran, and as well as other reviews, it seems to be leaning heavily towards picking new fights, and in the case of Iran, that fight is most readily fought in Syria. Since the early days of the Syrian civil war, there have been hawks viewing it as a potential proxy war against a key Iranian ally, and that view has only grown, which, combined with the Trump administration's general hostility towards Iran, is pushing the U.S. into widening their involvement in Syria.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the Federal Trade Commission said it will attempt to block the merger of the DraftKings FanDuel Fantasy Sports websites because it would likely establish a monopoly. The FTC on Monday said it had authorized legal action to block the merger because the combined firm would control more than 90% of the U.S. market for paid daily fantasy sports contests. The FTC said in a statement, DraftKings and FanDuel are each other's most significant competitor. At present, the two companies battle head-to-head to offer the best prices and product quality, including the largest prize pools and greatest variety of contests. The proposed merger would create a single provider with by far the largest share of the market for paid daily fantasy sports contests in the United States. The Attorneys General of California and Washington, D.C. will join the FTC in filing a complaint in a federal district court to seek a preliminary injunction to stop the merger ahead of an administrative trial, which is scheduled to begin November 21st.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
Reuters reports the parents of Michael Brown and the city of Ferguson, Missouri have settled a lawsuit over his fatal shooting by a police officer in 2014. Brown's death triggered sometimes violent protests in Ferguson and around the United States, fueled by later police killings of unarmed men in other cities. It also helped spark a debate about racial bias in the United States justice system. Terms of the wrongful death settlement between Ferguson and Brown's parents were not disclosed. U.S. District Judge E. Richard Weber approved the settlement and ordered it sealed. Both James Knowles, the mayor of the St. Louis suburb, and Anthony Gray, the lead attorney for Brown's parents, declined comment. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A new report from the National Center for Education shows that an alarming 10% of U.S. high school students graduate without basic object permanence skills. According to the study, a growing number of American seniors are lagging behind their international counterparts when it comes to the crucial knowledge that things don't just disappear if you're not looking at them.
Because it exists even if your eyes can't see it. Am I making sense?
No. U.S. high schoolers have dropped to 17th in science, 25th in math, and a troubling 180th place in the basic cognitive awareness most humans develop as toddlers. Secretary of Education Arnie Duncan is asking Congress to fund increased after-school disguise and reveal programs.
It's time to get the kids excited to learn the most obvious mental concepts that make us capable of functioning.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do better. It's just I don't know how I'm supposed to learn anything if I don't even have a teacher.
I'm still here, Vanessa.
Some educators worry that too much focus placed on object permanence might take away from other important skills, such as not touching hot things that could burn you.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. If you want to get on the air with us, you can do that. Or we'll talk about stuff that we think you might find interesting with you tonight in the studio in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, back from a several day long vacation, working vacation, if you will, to Rogers Campground for Somaliafest and Shirefest 2017. It was a lot of fun. Still kind of winding down and, got to unpack. Haven't even had a chance to do that yet, but it's good to be back. Good to be back on the air where we can take your phone calls because we couldn't do that from on the campground. So our toll-free number again, 855-450, free like freedom. Mark, I got to admit, I know we've talked about cultural appropriation, but I don't really know what that means. Apparently that's something you wanted to discuss tonight with the headline from the CBC in Canada saying that delegates in Geneva from 189 countries are looking at the issue, whatever that means, and they want to possibly make it illegal worldwide. Now, isn't this something about like dressing up like an Indian for Halloween is cultural appropriation? They want to make that illegal?
Well, if you start asking for definitions of cultural appropriation, you're going to get things that go all across the board.
Okay.
Whether it's the way that somebody braids their hair, the sorts of clothes they wish to wear, the types of food they prepare for sale, usually not the types of food they eat, but types of food they might choose to sell.
So if I want to make a taco and sell that as a Mexican
what are you
food?
talking about? You're going to talk about that on the radio? You're going to say racist things on the radio, Ian? Is that what you're going to do?
That's not racist. Racism is to believe that one race is inherently superior to another.
That's racist.
That is racist.
No, just defining racism differently than I define racism is race. See, that's the new millennium culture that we've. Now, I'm not blaming the millennials, although I'm sure that plenty of them are at fault on this. We've essentially stepped into an area where everything I disagree with is racist. Right? And that's what a cultural appropriation thing seems to be about. It's like, hey, you can't wear the U2 T-shirt. I saw them in 1987 at Janice Landing in Tampa. I knew you're younger than I am. You don't know anything about U2. I'm older. Like, this is
it's all about me. Me.
It's making somebody else's stuff about you, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. On one hand, it's racist by its nature, because it says, the stuff I've got going on is really important. The stuff you've got going on is inconsequential. So I don't know this for sure, but let's say that the iPad or and smartphones were created by white people. Let's just say that was the case. Does that mean that somebody who is from some other culture that's really worried about cultural appropriation, because I certainly wouldn't say that somebody who's not worried about it should follow these stupid rules, but somebody who is worried about that stuff should not use that item because it's not made by somebody of their skin color?
Is that really what we're talking about
It's
here?
just all so confusing and stupid.
Well, maybe the story here from CBC will clear some of it up, but I don't know.
I suspect not.
We'll see here, because this is the Canadian Broadcast Corporation, so it's government news out of Canada. Story here that says Indigenous advocates from around the world are calling on a UN committee to ban the appropriation of Indigenous cultures and to do so quickly. Delegates from 189 countries, including Canada, are in Geneva this week as part of a specialized international committee within the World Intellectual Property Organization, a United States agency. Since it began in 2001, the committee has been working on creating and finishing 3 pieces of international law that would expand intellectual property regulations to protect things like indigenous designs, dances, words, and traditional medicines.
Indigenous designs, dances, words, and what? Fruits and berries?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. The meeting takes place as concern grows worldwide about the rights of cultures. So that's an interesting idea. Cultures have rights?
Right. And I am the one with the microphone, so I get to decide which cultures have what. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. A culture? Define that.
I can't. I don't know what that means.
Do you remember when tribal tattoos were big in like the 90s?
I didn't know they weren't big now, but okay.
I'm pretty sure that people aren't doing those things much anymore.
All right.
I mean, is that cultural appropriation? I didn't hear much about it.
What about the Chinese symbols? People still get those.
I think that, the Chinese write American words on their products and stuff too.
Check out English.com. It's hilarious.
There's probably some trashy Chinese girl running around with, chicken written on her fanny or whatever.
Or bitch or something like that.
Thinking it's a cool thing to have written there. Whatever it might be. I mean, this is... Now, you got to remember, people like Japanese culture, they tend to like the fact that their culture is exported. But you will find plenty of upset liberals out there that you might wear a kimono or something, because that's what you're comfortable wearing at home. I mean, I've heard of people doing this. I don't know. Just wear my underpants.
I love English.com. It's been a while since I've been there. It's just picture after picture from people who've visited various different Asian countries and had found just brutally bad translations of English, and so they call it English, and they show those photos, and man, they are just funny stuff. feel free to go and check that out as you wish. But hey man, why do people take this stuff so seriously? I mean, if somebody wants to appropriate something from Free Talk Live, I say go for it. Have fun with it. Make a joke out of a picture that we made. Remember, a long time ago we had the Free Talk Live Photoshop section on the BBS. Like, hey, take our images, have fun with them, make fun of them. Who cares? I mean, God, take it easy. People get so upset.
Because if you can carve out a little piece of sort of media for yourself, then you can be the new Jesse Jackson of whatever it is that you're doing. It makes something that's not about you, right? So say you got a beach towel with some feathers on it. Suddenly that's a Native American cultural appropriation or First Peoples cultural appropriation or whatever.
Now someone can feel offended.
Some activist says one way or another.
They're hurting me.
Right. Well, that's the notion. Just because it's got some feathers on it. I don't even know what this means. I don't even know. You got a dream catcher hanging from your rear view mirror in your car. Cultural appropriation.
Wow.
Can you
imagine the enforcement
show
of
me
this?
the harm. And
hurt feelings don't count. I mean, look, if your butt hurt, that's not a crime. It shouldn't be. You need to just toughen up, thicken the skin a little bit. Try not caring what other people do with their things and their time.
And
who cares?
I just don't understand why the big fuss over it all is.
I don't know. People are bored. They need something to feel like they matter about. I don't know.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that the Washington's football team there, that is not cultural appropriation, but offensive speech. And so I'm sort of against that. I may go so far as to say the Cleveland Indians mascot looks a little shifty. I'm not 100% sure of that.
Yeah, but aren't those teams changing those mascots on their own volition based on the market?
I haven't seen that happen much.
No, okay.
But
I thought I heard they were doing that.
I can tell you that if you go to if you go to some reservation and you find some sports team there at the reservation, the chance of them being called the Braves or the Warriors is high. And that isn't they're not being offensive to themselves or anything like that. So, to say that some group of people can't have some name to celebrate some group of people just seems ridiculous to me. No one gets upset about the Minnesota Vikings, even though plenty of the players are probably not Scandinavian. You know what I mean? So that's just, to me, it's all just a bunch of hooey. And the fact that this stuff continues to get press, I think it needs to be addressed at this point in order to be stopped.
Well, let's find out more about exactly what these bureaucrats are talking about. What is it that they want to control? How do they want to control these cultural ideas? 855-450-FREE, because this sounds like a really scary concept that they're going to put into place. This is Free Talk Live. You can join us on the air.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-940-9829. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-940-9829. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-940-9829. That's 1-800-940-9829.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply. Or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. Earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click Tips, Tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Join us on the radio here. Bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733, and Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. We're talking about cultural appropriation, which is an idea that I got to admit I got a real loose grasp on. It's kind of hard to really understand it. It seems to have something to do, according to the CBC, with the idea somehow that a culture could have a right to control something. That's what they're saying here in this story at cbc.ca about a UN meeting with 189 countries, delegates, including Canada, are in Geneva talking about potential law, international law, that would expand intellectual property regulations to protect things like indigenous designs, dances, words, and traditional medicines. We'll tell you more about that. You can share your thoughts here. It's Ian and Mark. Also, do want to let you know about freetalklive.com, where you can go and download archives of the show that go back for years. If you missed us at the Somaliafest and Shirefest this last weekend, you can download all those episodes, of course, and any others that you like for free right there at freetalklive.com. In fact, we've got RSS feeds, podcasts, which you can plug into your favorite podcast client and receive our shows directly as they are available for download. That's what makes podcasts pretty handy. So if you want to check out our feeds, go to feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Back to the story here. It says here the meeting takes place as concern grows worldwide about the rights of cultures to control their own materials, which is
a term that is very disturbing to me, because rights are something that belong to individuals. Rights are something that we, grant to one another to allow human beings to better get along, to better interact respectfully and honorably with one another. It's a good thing that we've come up with the idea of individual rights, because it allows the individual to be protected. And the individual should be the minority that has, the highest status, not some arbitrary collective, not some arbitrary group or culture, which, as you said, how the hell do you define what a culture is? Because there's so many. Even if you could point out a culture, I could probably point out to you 100 different subcultures within that are very distinct. I mean, we were just at this Freedom Festival, which now it's moving into a different Freedom Festival, and there's 2 distinct cultures at least within those 2 festivals, and then more within those. So, I mean, you just get down to all these definitions and trying to understand what cultures and where, and how can a culture control anything? Who's in charge of a culture?
Right.
What?
That's why we have property rights and individual rights. And individual rights spring from the fact that you own your body, that you have control over your body, and therefore you own your body. Mm-hmm. Whereas these are just sort of new things. I'm willing to talk about, like, for instance, Egypt wants to have a lot of its artifacts returned to it. This is also happening with many Native American, sort of tribes want to see their artifacts that have gone hither and nigh across the world to sort of educate people in museums and some cases private collections and things like that. They want them returned. They don't want to pay for them. They just want the stuff returned. And I think that there might be an argument, like there's perhaps an opportunity to begin a discussion about each individual thing. Right? Like, as to why it might return or whatever. But, Egypt has done very well at getting this done. Sort of everything Egypty is ours. Because we now control this plot of land that we have nothing to do with the ancient Egyptians, but whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas the Native Americans different tribes are beginning to attempt to do this sort of thing. Now, I feel like having all this stuff all over the place is good, because it educates people. Right. And they can learn about different cultures and that sort of thing.
Isn't it a benefit?
It's not so scary.
Right. I mean, this sounds like, it sounds like white supremacy almost, the idea, or any race supremacy. It sounds like, our race is so important that we have to keep it pure. We have to keep all of the things that our race has created in our own hands. We don't want to share our ideas with other races or other demographics or whatever. And it just sounds like bigotry. It sounds like, to me, I think there's a benefit for cultures mixing together. I think that there's a benefit for peoples from all over the world mixing together, from ideas
That's the melting pot
together.
Theory.
Right.
But there's the opposing theory, which is multiculturalism, that all cultures are basically valuable, and they all should be preserved, and they can coexist alongside each other. I tend not to believe that particular theory. I'm more of a
sounds like a race purity thing to me. It sounds like another rewording of that.
In some cases, you could be just concerned that history is being destroyed, right? So I read a meme today. I don't know if this is true, people. I just read it on the internet, so you take it for what it is. But there's a language in Mexico that is spoken by so few people that is spoken currently by 2 people who refuse to talk to each other. And this it shows this sort of sourpuss Mexican person. Like, for whatever reason, I'm sure there are languages, right, that are spoken by a very small group of people. Those people tend to be old, and, that language is going to disappear. My heart does not flutter in upset over the notion of languages disappearing.
I love it.
Lots of languages have disappeared over time. And
God, it would be so much easier if everybody spoke the same language.
Wouldn't it now? I tend to agree. Now, I get to sit in the privileged position of speaking that language. Right?
Sure.
Like, I am I speak the dominant accent of the dominant language on the planet. I don't run around talking like people who talk like where I come from, right? I don't talk like that. I speak in the Midland accent, as you do.
Okay.
We were raised by Yankees in Florida, so, that's just kind of how we ended up talking, is we got that dominant accent. And it's no surprise that we're happy about the notion of the whole world having to learn our language. At some point in the future, we won't even have to bother learning Spanish. I like learning Spanish. I like, pronouncing things properly.
Yeah.
But I don't even do it anymore because I kind of feel like that's a little bit of cultural appropriation. What's this white guy trying to sound like he can speak Spanish for?
I don't even think about that stuff.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it is.
Why would it be... Yeah, I just don't understand why somebody would think negatively about someone trying to speak another person's language.
This is the muddy mess and that this whole notion of cultural appropriation has brought us to.
Let me dig further here into the story. In the U.S. this week, designer Tory Burch agreed to change the description of one of her coats for women after Romanians protested that it had been described as African-inspired when it actually appropriated a traditional Romanian garment. Wow. So people were so upset over some designer's piece of clothing that no more than, a few thousand people are ever going to drape upon their body, that they protested the fact that it was misadvertised or mislabeled over this.
It depends on what you mean by a protest. Sending an email is a protest, right? I don't see a particular problem with sending an email and saying, hey, that African coat of yours, it's Romanian.
Speaking to the committee Monday,
check off.
Dean of the University of Colorado said the UN's negotiated document should, quote, obligate states to create effective criminal and civil enforcement procedures to recognize and prevent the non-consensual taking and illegitimate possession of traditional cultural expressions. More on the way. Free Talk Live.
Love or loathe him, Donald J. Trump is our 45th president. There is no denying now that Trump will go down in history, both despised and admired. Commemorate Trump's presidency with your very own Trump silver bust from TrumpSilverStatue.com. This museum-quality heirloom Trump silver statue bust is hand-cast from 20 troy ounces of silver, a great investment from TrumpSilverStatue.com. Loathed or loved, own a valuable piece of Trump's legacy. Get your solid silver Trump bust today at TrumpSilverStatue.com.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA-packed technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
Free Talk Live.
They gently kind of hang on to it or manipulate it with their mouths. The pufferfish then releases toxins that seem to intoxicate the dolphins.
He's getting high.
Apparently, there's legislation in India to consider dolphins to be non-human persons. Would dolphins be subject to arrest for getting intoxicated?
How else could they deal with this threat to the dolphins?
Obviously, there's disorderly conduct and public intoxication.
I bet they'll resist arrest, too.
Because dolphins don't really have hands. They're going to fight you, and a dolphin will rape you.
Think of the money for the prison industrial complex here. I mean, they'll have to build whole new underwater prisons for the dolphins. This could be big.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We're here. We'll take your calls about anything you want. All you have to do is dial in. Toll free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Tonight in the studio, it's Ian here.
And Mark.
We are talking about cultural appropriation, whatever the hell that is. I'm still trying to figure it out. Apparently the idea is that a culture could somehow have a right to control its own materials, which is just mind-boggling to me. I mean, what that means. You have to first define culture and then explain to me how a culture could have any kind of right to control anything at all. How do you define who's in that culture?
That's the authoritarian trick. The authoritarian trick is to find something to control and then find a way to control it. So, some
sort of nebulous way where they can arbitrarily define things.
It's not that a culture shouldn't have control of its items and medicine and blah blah blah, whatever they're listing there. It's that a culture doesn't exist. And therefore, what you're saying is a group of people who identify as the culture police for that particular culture
They'll decide.
Are going to decide. And in all likelihood, by what I've seen, those people are going to be white Democrats from America.
Well, whoever it is, I don't care who makes those decisions. It's none of their damn business what people do with their stuff. When you want to, sew a piece of clothing together, who cares what design you put on it? To me, it's none of my business what you do with your own threads and your needles. But these people are saying that if you don't belong to their arbitrary group, which is defined in some arbitrary way, that you can't put those things together in whatever method you want to. And to take advice from some school administrator or some bureaucrat, basically. In this case, it's the University of Colorado the University of Colorado Dean, James Anaya, who is living up in his ivory white tower of academia, has no idea what the real world is like. This guy is speaking to a committee of over 189 nations at the UN, asking for laws that, quote, obligate states to create effective criminal and civil enforcement procedures to recognize and prevent the non-consensual taking and illegitimate possession, sale, and export of traditional cultural expressions. I mean, that is a scary idea. Who gets to decide who can consent? As you said, it's going to be some bureaucrat or somebody who's arbitrarily selected. Right. What if someone within that culture does consent? What if somebody's like, sure, take all the Indian crap you want. I don't care. Here. Use it however you want to. Somebody disagrees with that. Does that mean the other guy gets overridden? Where do these rules come from?
Right. So this is the black guy selling tacos. This is the white lady running a yoga studio. This is what we're talking about here. And the idea that we need new in this over-offended culture, we need new things to be offended about is it's dizzying. It's exhausting. How do these people find the minutes in a day to be offended by all the things that one needs to be offended about these days?
Great question. Anaya said the document should also look at products that are falsely advertised as indigenous made or endorsed by indigenous groups. That would mean products like those in U.S.-based retailer Urban Outfitters' Navajo line, saying that including, quote, Navajo hipster panties, a peace treaty feather necklace, and a Navajo print flask.
So what do you think about that? That's an interesting question. Now you're basically talking about a trademark to some extent. Like, for instance, if somebody made a product and said, Free Talk Live endorsed or Ian Freeman endorsed.
Well, that's false, right? Like, that's a false statement.
Well, okay, it is. But what about this Navajo? When you're calling your line of clothing, and I'm just presuming I don't know anything about this case, but let's just say
I'll look up the hipster panties for you, Mark.
Urban Outfitters has a line of clothing they're calling Navajo. And there's a tribe of people that call themselves Navajo. One would presume that tribe has a leadership council. Would not the leadership council then control essentially the branding of that word Navajo?
No, because I think that in the individual's case, if you say so-and-so persons endorsed this thing and
Free Talk
they
Live
didn't
endorsed.
actually endorse it, then that's an individual rights matter. Free Talk Live endorsed, again, you can define what Free Talk Live is fairly easily.
You can define what a Navajo is, too. I mean, Navajo is something clear.
Somebody with, 1% of Navajo blood, 10%, 20%? What does that mean?
I don't know. To me, what it says...
Do you get to decide what to do with Navajo if you have over a certain percentage of blood, or if it's less than a certain percentage? Sorry, you just don't have any influence?
Right. So if I create a line of clothing that is called, Bradenton White Trash, right? Try to take that from me, huh? Cultural appropriationists. If I call it that... then, and it doesn't have to be every white trash from Bradenton. It could just be me, right? So I guess that's what the claim is that you're making. I think it sounds legit. If a Navajo person created Navajo, brand clothing, then that would be pretty legit. If then that Navajo brand clothing was bought by Urban Outfitters, then they bought a brand. But
I don't care if Urban Outfitters makes an Indian-looking design and calls it Navajo. I mean, who cares?
But the Navajo, some Navajo do.
That's the thing. It's just these people looking to get offended about something. Again, I don't see why it matters. Was it Navajo inspired? Sure, they thought of the Navajo when they saw this design. Anyway, the story here: the Navajo Nation launched a legal battle against the company for trademark infringement. In 2012, the case was settled out of court last year. Anaya is one of several indigenous leaders at this round of negotiations who are questioning just how seriously some member states are taking the negotiations. The committee has been working on 3 draft documents for 16 years.
They're pretty busy.
16 years. Doesn't sound like they're that busy at all. It's a painstakingly slow process, and member states are now going through them line by line. And some indigenous leaders say they're frustrated and disenchanted about the committee's future. Let's see here. Aroha Te Parake Maid, a member of the Ngati Awa and Ngati Porou tribes in New Zealand, says, quote, "We're only halfway through 2017, and yet the number of occurrences of misappropriation happening to indigenous peoples in all regions of the world seems relentless, with no relief in sight." I mean, it almost sounds like they're dizzied by the, as he said, relentless appropriations, like left and right. These people are just misappropriating our culture, and it just hurts so much. In this UN panel, they're just dragging their feet, and all the while we're being offended day in and day out. We need prison sentences sentences to feel better about all this.
I kind of feel them. Like, so for instance, the way the news talks about libertarians, the way the media talks about libertarians, I kind of feel that way. It's like they never get it right. They never nail down exactly what it is to be libertarian, at least not by my definitions. And of course, Free Talk Live is the center of the libertarian universe, so you must come here for your libertarian cultural awareness.
But the difference is, and I see where you're coming from with that, but the difference between us and them is we just get on the air and clarify. We just get on the air and say, hey, no, they're wrong about that. This is what that means. But these people don't have a voice, and that's what really... The hell they don't. They can start a podcast.
That's their complaint. Their complaint is that not enough people...
They're not heard?
Right, they're not being heard. If they felt more heard, then this wouldn't be an issue.
Then they wouldn't need guns?
Now, right. That's what it comes down to. Now, I'm not saying you have no right to be heard. You have a right to speak, but you have no right to be heard. So I think that's really ultimately what it comes down to here. But yeah, I mean, what I think they're feeling is they're feeling, in this case, Maori or whatever. They're feeling like the Maoris are being misrepresented. My dear God, Disney did this movie, and it's not exactly right. And look at all these fat people, and blah 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 blah. Right? It's just like never-ending upset over how they're being portrayed. Upset, That's how. Welcome to everybody's world. Their little important corner is never properly expressed. Look at how upset the geeks got about the Big Bang Theory.
We've got more on the way here. You can take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever you want. 855-450-3733. There's more about the cultural appropriation nonsense coming up, and you can weigh in as well on Free Talk Live.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org. Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free and join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In these moments that remain, we've got time for you if you want to join us here. With you tonight, it's Ian
and Mark.
And you can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Hey, if you want to get interactive with other Free Talk Live listeners, we're doing a little experiment with a new forum that we've got set up at forum.freetalklive.com. There's a little bit of activity there. It's kind of slow, but if you want to check it out, you're welcome to drop on in. And if you're a Free Talk Live amplifier, be sure you let me know by sending me a private message that you've signed up for the forum, and I'll get you your Free Talk Live amp badge for the forum. So everybody that sees your post knows that you are a Free Talk Live amplifier, meaning you have gotten behind Free Talk Live for as little as $5 a month and are helping us spread the ideas of liberty around the globe and into new people's ears via radio stations, over 170 radio stations coast to coast in the United States, and of course worldwide via satellite and online via the internet. We've got a lot of different ways to reach people with the ideas of freedom, but we can do more and do better with your help. You get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, AMP-only podcast, AMP-only Facebook group, and that special AMP-only badge for the new Free Talk Live forum. Just go to amp.freetalklive.com to learn more about that and get signed up with Bitcoin or with credit card or PayPal. Once again, that's AMP, A-M-P, amp.freetalklive.com. Now, we're talking about this cultural appropriation nonsense that's coming out of the UN, where apparently now for 16 years they have been working on legislation that would create some sort of international copyright law or some kind of intellectual property restrictions that would allow people who are in a certain culture to complain about and get the people punished who are so-called appropriating their ideas, taking some sort of thing or concept created by someone within that culture and then utilizing it in their own, productive manner and creating some new product with, Navajo fill in the blank or whatever. That's somehow going to be a crime. And according to one of these people that has been complaining about this, this is one of the tribe representatives from New Zealand, from the Ngati Awa and Ngati Paru tribes, Mr. Aroha Mead. Mead said the part of the problem is that the indigenous groups around the world have no idea about the committee's work and often aren't being consulted by member states. He said, quote, people at a national level don't know what's going on, and there aren't many processes where you can get information about this or contribute to the positions that are being taken here. He noticed the WIPO has what she called, or she, I guess, called one of the lowest rates of indigenous participation. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe there's only a small portion of these cultures who actually care about what people do with ideas as far as sharing and borrowing ideas are concerned. Because the cool thing about ideas is if I copy your idea, it doesn't diminish the fact that you still have it. There's no lack of supply involved there. There's no shortage when it comes to copying ideas. Maybe most of these indigenous people are busy enough running their own lives, running their own businesses, taking care of their own families,
making the world a better place,
right,
hopefully,
and creating their own products and services, which they can market as legitimately Navajo or whatever, and get the extra bonus points that they get for being legitimate. I mean, maybe they're fine with how life is. Maybe they're satisfied and satiated, and they're happy with the way things are in the world, and they don't care what other people are doing. Maybe that's why they're having a tough time finding out or caring about what the UN is busy doing. I mean, who wants to get involved in these political processes to try to control their neighbors except the worst order of control freaks?
I wonder if the UN's going to go after the Goth kids for co-opting the Ostrogoth and Visigoth nomenclature to create their own, black-wearing, makeup, sun-fearing thing.
Who was wearing black first? They should have a right to restrict anyone from wearing black.
Was probably, for one, worn by a person who was wearing the fur of something that they killed that was black, and secondly, it was probably pretty expensive dye. Dyes, paints, these kind of things were high-end stuff as far as trade went. Spices too.
Quote, the issues being discussed at this committee are also being discussed in indigenous organizations and communities all around the world on a regular basis, so why are there not more indigenous representatives here, she asked. There are indigenous groups from around the world taking part in this round of negotiations, including groups from New Zealand, Kenya, Mexico, Colombia, and the United States, and there is no indigenous representation in the Canadian delegation. So anyway, they go on to talk a little bit about Canada with that.
Yeah, Canada has a big deal with the First Nations there. So they had at one point these, I can't remember exactly, Indian schools, these government-run schools that essentially Native Americans, this happened in the United States too, they were forced to go to. And they had their hair cut, and they were taught Christianity, and there were all kinds of abuses that occurred inside of them. Mind you, there are all kinds of abuses that occurred in every school in Canada at the time. You can be assured that the corporal punishment was being administered. Now, I think that it's true that there was some dehumanization that was going on, and therefore that the treatment was worse. But ultimately, once the perpetrator has been stopped from committing the crime, and then the punishment has been meted out, whatever that punishment might be, what else is there to do?
I don't know. Need
you go after the children and the children of the children of the perpetrator? Must every person that has the similar amount of melanin in their skin be pilloried for something that was done to great grandfather or whatever? In many cases it's grandfather. In some cases it's father. It didn't happen that long ago. But at some point or another, we're all going to have to forgive each other. We're all going to have to forgive the people in the past. It's not like any group of people has been particularly well treated except for the rich, right?
Yeah.
Like they've always done pretty
done
well.
I'm
kind of interested in how well the rich have done over the course of thousands of years. Like, somebody that was, say, a king. I just read today, read an article that, let's see, women were 7 times more likely to procreate 8,000 years ago than men were. You know why? Because they had their testicles removed. They were unicized, as it were. So obviously the rich were the most likely to procreate at that time in most given cultures. So in a lot of cases, we're all descended from rich people, but has that wealth been able to stay along a particular line of people, or does it keep on rising and falling throughout human history?
I haven't the slightest clue.
I can't imagine that you can answer this question. This is a question for some historian to be able to sort of follow throughout. I expect to get a bunch of conspiracy theory nonsense by asking this question, but I would suspect, if I had to make a guess, that wealth tends to come in waves, that thieves calling themselves the new government or revolutionaries or whatever sweep in, take the wealth, and then the wealth has been taken from whatever group of people that were doing very well. I would also remind everyone that you're probably a hell of a lot wealthier than the wealthiest person from the 1850s.
Yeah, you've got air conditioning, you've got television, you've got heating, you've got
cell
all kinds
phone,
of
car,
comfortable things that make life so much better and so much easier to live, that allow you to have luxury time, the amount of time that you have to whine about cultural appropriation and all this other crap that nobody who actually is working for a living has time to do. That we have so much time to ourselves that it's incredible. You only have to work 40 hours a week instead of 100, slaving over a farmland or something like that, doing some sort of backbreaking task in order to eke out a living. It
was
so
only
much
in the
nicer.
early 1900s, only in the early 20th century that Americans began to move en masse from farms to cities.
We didn't have refrigeration until the 20th century.
If they were moving from farms to cities, they ceased doing the crappiest of labor.
Yeah.
The crappiest labor on the planet is manual farm labor.
Yeah, it sounds pretty awful.
Really pretty awful. This is the kind of labor that poor people in Bangladesh choose to work in factories with no fire exits in rather than do.
Yeah.
Right? I probably wasn't entirely clear on that statement, but farm labor is so bad that people in, Bangladesh prefer to work in sweatshops where they're likely to be burned, have a much likelier chance of being burned alive than doing farm work. Mm-hmm. They choose that job over farm work. Well, how do I know? Because they're in that job. Farm work is...
It's a move up.
Yeah. Farm work is the basest of work, and Americans just moved out of that, less than a century ago.
We are out of time tonight, but we're going to be back in the studio tomorrow as Mark's going to be heading up the Thursday night episode since Daryl is still up at Rogers Campground.
I love how you get Thursday night off. I didn't get Thursday night off last week.
It's tough times, man. Tough times. Just how the schedule's worked out.
You just love to take my job.
This is Free Talk Live.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from White Mountains in the Shire, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, June 21st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.48 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,247 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,715. Antiwar.com reports over the past several weeks, U.S. military actions within Syria have been less and less centered on the Islamic State, with a handful of operations targeting Shiite militias in southern Syria and even shooting down a Syrian government aircraft over the weekend. This isn't just the U.S. idly getting into one-off fights in the course of a war they've already been fighting in Syria, but rather is reflective of a push by White House officials, with multiple National Security Council members looking at the Syrian war less as a fight against the Islamic State and more as a chance to pick a fight with Iran. The Pentagon has made clear they object, and Defense Secretary James Mattis personally rejected multiple proposals related to this. Still, attacks on Shiite militias whenever they get sort of close to a U.S.-backed rebel base and a public narrative presenting the militias as necessarily in league with Iran have found the U.S. heading down that path anyhow. This isn't a new battle. The Pentagon has been battling the CIA in recent years in a rather public fight over the war, with the CIA keen to make the war about regime change and by extension fighting Iran, while the Pentagon has sought to keep the focus on fighting the Islamic State. This is increasingly becoming a battle within the White House, as the administration's review of policies towards various different nations has included a review of Iran, and as well as other reviews, it seems to be leaning heavily towards picking new fights, and in the case of Iran, that fight is most readily fought in Syria. Since the early days of the Syrian civil war, there have been hawks viewing it as a potential proxy war against a key Iranian ally, and that view has only grown, which, combined with the Trump administration's general hostility towards Iran, is pushing the U.S. into widening their involvement in Syria.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the Federal Trade Commission said it will attempt to block the merger of the DraftKings FanDuel Fantasy Sports websites because it would likely establish a monopoly. The FTC on Monday said it had authorized legal action to block the merger because the combined firm would control more than 90% of the U.S. market for paid daily fantasy sports contests. The FTC said in a statement, DraftKings and FanDuel are each other's most significant competitor. At present, the two companies battle head-to-head to offer the best prices and product quality, including the largest prize pools and greatest variety of contests. The proposed merger would create a single provider with by far the largest share of the market for paid daily fantasy sports contests in the United States. The Attorneys General of California and Washington, D.C. will join the FTC in filing a complaint in a federal district court to seek a preliminary injunction to stop the merger ahead of an administrative trial, which is scheduled to begin November 21st.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or a private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
Reuters reports the parents of Michael Brown and the city of Ferguson, Missouri have settled a lawsuit over his fatal shooting by a police officer in 2014. Brown's death triggered sometimes violent protests in Ferguson and around the United States, fueled by later police killings of unarmed men in other cities. It also helped spark a debate about racial bias in the United States justice system. Terms of the wrongful death settlement between Ferguson and Brown's parents were not disclosed. U.S. District Judge E. Richard Weber approved the settlement and ordered it sealed. Both James Knowles, the mayor of the St. Louis suburb, and Anthony Gray, the lead attorney for Brown's parents, declined comment. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. Quiet and reserved temp Kevin Bright surprised his coworkers this week when they discovered that the mild-mannered 27-year-old was actually an untalented singer-songwriter.
How did I get here? It's probably a dream.
Bright, who mostly keeps to himself at work, usually spends his free time embarrassing himself at open mics across the city, and that underneath his meek and soft-spoken exterior is a terrible guitarist with no musical sensibility whatsoever.
You see him in the office, he's this quiet, reserved kid, and you would never think, oh, he's got a great voice and a wonderful stage presence, and you'd be totally right.
In other news, an Ohio Film Festival graphic designer decides to go with film reels for the O's. And getting grandma into a family reunion t-shirt is a 3-person job. The entire 144-minute cut of this week's review is available now for just $11.99 on Laserdisc. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Good evening and welcome here to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM, our special live PorkFest week-long broadcast. We will be broadcasting to you live every night of PorkFest, 10 p.m. to midnight, and maybe even a little later, depending on what kind of craziness we can get going on. We are broadcasting live from the Dome, the Freedom Ship, the spaceship down here at the bottom of Agora Valley, provided by the Precariat, provided by Agorist Hosting. Check them out, of course, over at agoristhosting.com. And a lot of thanks to Ernie and Derek for helping us get in the this nice little studio setup that we've put together here. We've got a nice spot out here for an audience. Bring your blankets, bring your fun things. Come and hang out with us here in the studio. We're going to have some great guests on the night. We're going to have activists and vendors and sponsors, and we're going to be talking about what's going to be going on for the next few days. What should we expect here at the Porcupine Freedom Festival? I know I'm, for one, I'm having a really good time, making plenty of money, selling plenty of food, plenty of shirts. Had a really good time giving a speech today on immigration, and we've just been going around and rustling up guests, and hopefully those folks will be here fairly soon. We put together the idea is kind of rebirth those old late-night Freedom Fiend sessions, but since none of the Fiends are here, we're going to bring all the ex-Fiends together. So have James Babb, maybe Nikki Darling might be here for a little while. We're going to have Dan the Ice Cream Man come in and talk about his upcoming documentary film that they're working on. We've got some people that I'm not really sure if they know where they are. We've seen some nationalists show up. Should be pretty interesting to see. Yeah, I saw a Stomp My Flag, I'll Stomp Your Ass t-shirt for sale today, and I almost threw up. So some people aren't quite sure where they are. But we're going to educate those people while they're here and try to convince them to give up the way it is. And, yeah, the immediate thing was like, so for the Marine Corps, I was like, oh, wow, poor you. I remember what it was like to be that stupid. And then I asked him, I said, do you know what the big green one is? No. Has your recruiter told you anything about the big green one? No. Ask him. And if he doesn't tell you, then don't go. Because I wish someone had told me about the big green one. And how, basically what the government will do is use you as a disposable Bic lighter, and when they're done using you to set fires, they will toss you in the trash and do everything they can not to actually physically take care of you in any way for the damage that was done to you. But, forget truths like that. We are here tonight waiting, basically, on the rest of the crew to show up. So we've got... lots of new people have shown up today. Today's the first official day of PorkFest. Agora Valley went from 5 or 6 vendors to pretty much full in the course of a day. We've got Shakin' It's here, and you've got the Headworm and the Ice Cream Man and the Deep Fried Everything right next door, Man After My Own Heart, and anything you can want, just about. You can find it right here at the Porcupine Freedom Festival this week. And it seems like, Somaliafest is supposed to officially be over, but it doesn't feel like it's officially over. It feels like it is right here in this giant spaceship, the Precariat, right here in our blue dome, down here at the bottom of Agora Valley. If you're having a good time and you want to come and get on some live radio, just come on in here and have a seat. We're going to throw some blankets down, have a good time tonight. I'm still waiting on my guest. Hey, Brian, I know you can hear me over there. Why don't you come on over here and get on the radio, brother? So, I'm not hearing anything back. Okay. I don't know what that is. I see flashing on the screen. I hope that means we're still on the air. So, but yeah, we've been having a really good time here. Last night we had the people from Zoe's Pizzeria on to talk about some of the stuff they're doing. During the course of the week, we're going to have other people on, other vendors, people doing big things, important things. You know, everything from YouTube channel producers to people that are printing their own currencies to people that are designing cryptocurrency. All kinds of great new stuff that we're going to be talking about this week. We're going to have great activists in here. And I'm really looking forward to try to recreate some of that fun that we used to have in the middle of the night up in the media room. So, Mark, come on over. Yeah, why not? I'm not doing nothing else. It's Porkfest. This is Anarchist Radio. We're balls off liberty right now. We do whatever we want.
Well, I've never actually been on Liberty Radio or LRN.FM or really any libertarian station. I've never been on LRN.FM or any Liberty station as far as I know.
Have a seat. So what kind of work you do, Mark? I know you work with the Libertarian Party of Florida, but
I
be
do.
a little more specific than that.
Well, I was serving on the executive committee for about 10 months, filling a vacancy, and I did not run for re-election this past April, or I should say beginning of May, but I do still chair the convention committee, so I'm in charge of planning the Libertarian Party of Florida's annual convention.
I hear that one of your more infamous members is claiming that he's going to be coming up here this week.
I actually didn't hear about anything.
Oh, evidently he tried to get a spot here, and somebody that didn't know any better told him that they could get him a spot here, and then he went out and made a public challenge that he wanted to debate me, blah 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 blah, and I was just like, yeah, I don't think you have a spot on stage here. I'm looking at the thing, and I just talked to the organizers, and they say you're full of crap. But,
interesting. If it's the same person who you had agreed to debate a while ago, and it ended up getting canceled, I guess I know the name.
Yeah.
But I can't say I'm particularly shocked that he would have kind of just assumed that he would have been able to come and debate, but I would certainly, I appreciated your willingness at the time a few months ago to take it head on. I think you would have done a kick-ass job had the radicals on the other side not allegedly got it canceled.
Yeah, well, I mean, from what I'm hearing is that the first one was canceled because of Antifa people, and the second one was canceled because of Augustus's people. Because the first one was like, we're going to cause problems for the venue, and then the second one, it was where police actually saw members of the other side saying that they were coming armed for the purpose of, like, creating a second Gettysburg in Gettysburg.
I'll tell you, the rhetoric, unfortunately, doesn't surprise me. I think it's scary, and I'm going to reserve any stronger comments for off the air.
Right. Well, yeah, working with the Florida EZ, you got to be careful nowadays because, yeah, it's...
Fortunately, I'm not on the executive committee anymore, so while I think I do have more latitude to talk freely, I still would probably rather not.
Right. It's sad now that the Florida Libertarian Party's kind of got to that point where you can't.
It's a shame, and I would say that almost everybody in the Libertarian Party of Florida are actually great people, and I actually personally know more than one person who actually voted for Augustus Invictus in the primary against Paul Stanton for the U.S. Senate race in Florida, and some of these people are actually wonderful people. It's not all of the people who voted for him who are weird, kind of crypto-fascist, whatever you want to call it. Some of them are very cool who either got swept up in the moment or they liked his weird delivery. I can't really explain it, but I can tell you that
car crash.
But I can tell you that there are a minority of his people who are as crazy as him, if I may say that.
Yeah,
I think it's very unfortunate.
Well, it's kind of what's happened with, I think it's the age of Gary Johnson, the age of Trump, this whole alt-right entryism, all these things that are going on in the liberty community. And we're under attack from multiple sides at this time. Ideologically, from within, by the state, from without. And it's become this thing where we have to stand up. We have to do something about it. And I'm glad that we get all these great people together for a week to talk about all the great things that we're doing to do just that. So when we get back, we got people starting to show up here in the studio. We're going to have a whole lot of fun tonight here on our live broadcast, our special PorkFest live edition of the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
the audience can hear everything we're saying, so we're real professionals tonight. That's why you said there was no music. All right, so welcome back here to the Call to Freedom and our special live edition of the Pork Fest live edition, because we're always live, but, you know, tonight's our special live Pork Fest edition. And we are starting to get a little group of people in here. We've got some people you've heard on LRN before, but you haven't heard in a while, standing over here in a corner that will be joining me, I don't know, as soon as she finally makes her way over here and sits down. Then we've got Ernie over here. He's talking. Yeah. And we've got other guests that are actually standing right over here. Come on over. And we've got Mark Tanzer here with us right now, and he's a vendor here. You're doing precious metals right now, right?
I am, and I thank you for having me on.
Well, we're glad to have you.
So my name is Mark Tanzer, and I, as Will and I had discussed, I have been involved in the Libertarian Party of Florida. I've been serving as its convention committee chairman for the past year, and I'll be doing it for most likely just another year until our next convention. And I'm here as a vendor. I'm sharing a table with my friend Austin, who's with the Republican Liberty Caucus. And, well, I'm a Libertarian Party person, so, I don't consider myself an RLC person, but I view them as mostly good fellow travelers, at least their supporters, not necessarily everybody who's been endorsed by them, but many of them certainly. Anyway, I deal in precious metals, gold, silver, bullion, platinum, palladium, rare coins, paper money, numismatics, all that kind of stuff. I do specialize in bullion because I believe in it, and I think that everybody needs to have some gold and silver as investment, as protection, insurance, etc. And it's certainly, they've been money for 5,000 years. Notwithstanding cryptocurrencies and other type of things, I don't see metals going anywhere. And anywhere as far as going away.
Oh, yeah. Precious metals will always be here as long as we can dig them out of the ground. Precious metals will be here as long as human beings like shiny things. The precious metals will be here. Gary Johnson is proof that precious metals will always exist because people will always like shiny things even if they're bad for you.
That was a low.
Thank you. No, because your microphone's muted. Because people who defend Gary Johnson don't get to talk on my show.
And I say that as somebody. I say that as somebody who didn't vote for Gary Johnson at the convention, but did vote for him in the general election.
What's not wrong with Gary Johnson? He's a terrible public speaker and probably the worst advocate of liberty I've ever heard in my life. Okay. I'll give you Gary Johnson in 2013 was a great guy to listen to speak. Gary Johnson in 2016 was like, I want to bake the cake. I'm sorry.
If I
can explain to an Arab liberal, Dino Bidala, I mean, it's kind of hard to get any more Arab liberal than that. Davio backed me up on that. And if I can convince him that a libertarian position on freedom of association, not only is it good, but it's just, and get him to admit live on his own national liberal radio show that the libertarian position on free association is correct, and Gary Johnson can't to a room full of libertarians, I'm sorry, you have serious issues. So anyway, we've got a little crowd finally starting to gather in here, and we got another guest here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello. Okay, this is on now.
My
name's Julia. I've braved the world. I started out doing libertarian things, and then I did a YouTube channel and website called Brave the World, and I did a bunch of anarchist stuff, a lot of philosophy, and now I'm venturing into traditionalism. But I wanted to make a comment on the precious metals never going away. So the worst thing that could happen for precious metals today is a company proving that there's an asteroid within reach full of precious metals that they have the potential of extracting the metals from, which will completely inflate the market because of there'll be more of them. That's how it works. So that's a problem. That's why I'm still a cryptocurrency, prefer cryptocurrency.
Okay. Very cool. No Star Trek references.
They exist.
I do too. So now, what are you here doing right now? Like, what are you here? You're vending. You have a stall. You're promoting your work. So what's the work that you got? You're working on right now?
I'm I'm hanging out, and I have a T-shirt booth with some other fellow Bitcoiners at the top of the hill. And if anyone needs to get a quick rundown about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, that's a free service that I offer. And I have some really cool T-shirts.
Yes,
and they revolve around anti-voting and anarchy. And I have a fun capitalism, communism one. So on the front end, it says communism, standing 4 hours in line to get a pair of jeans. And then the back, it's capitalism, taking 4 hours to pick out a pair of jeans. So that's
Right.
the new one this year.
So now you do stuff. You do YouTube and stuff, right? So like, how would our listeners know you? Like, what would
I
they know you
started
from
out
besides your booth here?
with pro gun videos. So I did why everybody should own a gun. That was like a really short video that I got like 100,000 views really fast on that one. And then I did some, my best work is my anti-abortion stuff and my differences between men and women and mating strategies. And then I also do, like philosophical anarchism. So like Anselm Belgarigue, and I recite his Anarchy is Order manifesto. So people like that people from PorkFest probably would like that the most.
Very good, very good. So now, as I said before, we're basically kind of recreating those old Fiend nights. So we have lots of people in the studio, lots of new guests walking in. We've got, I'm looking at Nikki Darling right here, and she keeps sending... This dude. I know his name, and my brain isn't working. The only dude you've met that's smarter than you? Damn, I didn't know you thought I was that dumb.
That's what she claims. Don't believe her.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. So introduce yourself, dude that's smarter than Nikki.
My name is actually Daniel Casper. Hello.
For real?
No. I mean, that's the name. There's a John in the middle. That's my full name.
Somebody right now is writing that down and trying to figure out what your Social Security number and your birth